Okay, we're live. I hope this is working. It's kind of a tricky setup. I can hear myself, and I shouldn't. Let me for a second check the stream. Testing. Let me for a second check the stream. Testing. There I am. I don't know if I should be louder. Okay, we're all set. I think this is gonna work. This is a very oddball out of a game. Came out only in Japan, only in Japanese, and for some reason for the Game Boy Advance. Until then, no Silent Hill game had ever been on any Nintendo system. It's really weird. A very weird choice. But it contains elements of the story that aren't really in the game, that might come from a novelization. It's very strange that there was a novelization that also only came out in Japanese and never came out of Japan. We collectively don't know what's in it. We don't know if it's part of a new canon or not. But anyway, here we are. Let's start. Let's restart because it has a bit of a little intro. This was right. This was originally made for the Game Boy Advance. This is a port for PC made by my compatriot, if that matters, Gyromancy. Gyromancy has discovered a lot of stuff. He has data mined the original game. He has discovered a lot of unused monsters, and he's done a lot of great stuff. I probably should be wearing headphones because the microphone is probably picking up. I always wanted to play this, but I never gave it much of a chance. I never really played a game like this. There we go, now I can hear. That's also the interesting thing about it, that there are two scenarios. There's the Harry scenario, just like the main game, like the actual original game. But there's also a Civil Bennett, a civil scenario. We play as Civil, the policewoman that I'm using here in the backdrop. So I would like to play both. Today we're just gonna play one. I should stop stalling because we're gonna start with Harry. Maybe later in the month I'll play the civil scenario. Crap, I didn't read that. I am driving my Jeep, heading towards the quiet resort town of Silent Hill. The sound of the engine reverberates in the darkness. Due to some slight car trouble earlier, it had become this late. I am Harry Mason. I am a run-of-the-mill writer. Her eyes closed, Cheryl sleeps peacefully in the passenger seat. Cheryl is my daughter. She is cheerful and lively, and the occasional carefree smiles she shows me make me feel happy. I don't have very many relationships with people because of what I do for a living. So Cheryl's existence has become irreplaceable to me. Cheryl was very much looking forward to this trip. Although paved, this is still very much a mountain road. At this hour, there's little reason for any other drivers to be about. I push the accelerator. There's no light off in the darkness. I can depend only on my headlights. This has also been translated by fans, so there might be some... It was translated from Japanese, so maybe it's not perfect. I can depend only on my headlights. Light reflects off the rear view window mirror. Jesus, I cannot read. It's a motorcycle. There's a motorcycle headed toward the same destination as we are at a terrific speed at this late hour. With a roar, the motorcycle effortlessly passes by the side of my Jeep. I don't know if I should make my little seal of Metrotron thing smaller. I'm projecting this full screen because it's easier for me to... Okay, let's go. The seal of the police. Perhaps there has been an accident or something? But I don't recall hearing about an accident or anything on the radio. Cheryl is sleeping. A child should not be awake at this hour. I wonder if she's dreaming about something. I don't know if I can lower the sound a little bit in the mixer. Just a little bit, because this repetitive thing is kind of annoying. Tomorrow I have planned to take her to the amusement park. Maybe she's dreaming about riding the merry-go-round. This is part of the actual cinematic in the opening, so we don't really get all of this dialogue or all of this inner monologue in the actual game. I glance over at Cheryl's sleeping face and then return my eyes forward. The lighted area of the road almost appears to be belched out from the darkness as it moves towards me. Huh, something enters my field of view. It's a motorcycle from just before. It is lying on its side on the shoulder of the road. No doubt about it, it's the same motorcycle that just passed me. There's no sign of the driver. It looks like the driver smashed into the surface of the rocks by the side of the road while trying to avoid some kind of obstacle, and thus that part of the motorcycle has been destroyed. I carefully check the way in which my vehicle is headed. However, I don't see anything that could be an obstacle to my advance in the area illuminated by the headlights. A strange atmosphere creeps in around me. The radio reception begins to become erratic. Perhaps I should turn back? But my foot persistently pushes down the accelerator with no intention of letting off. I can no longer turn back now. Something murmurs within me. Please increase your speed some more. Someone murmurs within me. Cheryl's eyes are closed. She's dreaming. I know that I should be awake. But what is this uneasy feeling? I feel as if my body is not totally my own. It's like some strange being that is not me is controlling me, like I'm floating. My eyelids are heavy. As the steering wheel leaves my hand, it creates the illusion of setting the course on its own. Freezing cold, uneasiness, almost like being ready to fall asleep. I am just barely conscious, and now at my limit to maintain even that. Ah! When I saw the human figure on the road, I cut the wheel hard, and then there was nowhere else for my jeep and I to go, but down into the darkness below the cliff. The silence pierces my ears. As the wind blew, it was accompanied by piercing cold. Where am I? I can feel light faintly passing through my eyelids. I don't seem to be hurt. That much is clear to me because I don't feel any pain in my body. No, perhaps I've suffered an injury that doesn't cause me pain. I slowly try opening my heavy eyelids. Out of season snow is pouring into the town. Other than the sound of droplets of ice hitting the ground, there is nothing else to be heard. Silent Hill. That is what is assuredly written on the sign by the side of the road. Without realizing it, Cheryl and I have reached our destination. All my memories up to that point are gone. The wind is blowing in. When I take a look next to me, I am shocked. The passenger door has been left open. Cheryl is nowhere to be seen. Silent Hill. This town, which should just be a resort area, appears to have become just like a ghost town for some reason. Or maybe it was waiting for us to arrive, or perhaps the town just nestled up to us. So now I'm alone. Cheryl is not here. While I was sleeping, no, while I was knocked out, Cheryl opened the passenger door and stepped out alone into this tourist spot that is ruled by an unsettling silence. And then she left me to head somewhere. I tightly closed my jacket around my neck and set off on foot in search of Cheryl. Is this really capturing? I have to check just in case because I am tapped out of the thing. I wonder what in the world happened here. Nothing makes any sense. The silence, the out of season snow. And strangest of all, the entire town is wrapped in a thick fog. Oh, I already get choices, okay. Is there no one in town? I don't know, I care about Cheryl more than... Let's choose Cheryl. I begin to run. Only the sounds of my footsteps echo in the surroundings. Just where in the world has Cheryl gone? Did someone lead her away? Various concerns ran through my mind. I suddenly get the feeling that I heard footsteps other than my own. So I stopped moving right away to check it out. Diane, hey! How are you? You're just beginning. Harry and Cheryl were in their jeep and they just crashed and Harry wakes up and Cheryl's gone. And so he follows her into town, or at least he thinks he is following her. Through the thick fog I can see a figure that is about the size of a child. I'm fine. I had a busy morning, but I still wanted to do this today. Cheryl? Without a thought, I cry out. The figure doesn't move at all. At the moment, I begin to move slowly towards the figure. It starts to run. I fiercely chase after the figure. It's definitely Cheryl. Even though it's faint, I would not mistake someone else for Cheryl. However, no matter how much I run, I cannot catch up. Instead, the figure is gradually getting further away from me. The figure puts on speed as if it is gliding through the air. The figure appears to be absorbed by the fog as it begins to disappear. In order not to lose it, I run with all my strength while keeping my vision centered on the figure. I then notice that I have come to an alley surrounded by buildings. I don't know how, but it's like a cover was placed over the sky which had provided light until now, and the area has become engulfed in darkness. From the darkness I can hear multiple footsteps coming this way. I stood ready. What are they? With beast-like rage, they have closed into right where I am. Closed in to right where I am. Oh shit. Oh, this is already the wrong monsters. They changed these monsters because they got censored in some countries, especially in Germany, because they were like zombie children in bondage. There was an outcry, so they replaced them for the sewer monsters from some other part. Ah. And then my vitality is sucked away by these strangely shaped monsters until I finally lose consciousness. Oh boy. Sybil Bennett. She's a full-time police officer working in the neighboring town of Brahms. There was no one else in the cafe other than her and Harry. Why is there suddenly a narrator? We were doing so well with the first person. She took a seat in the counter and waited for Harry to awaken. I suddenly awoke. Where is this place? Why am I here? Was I brought here by someone? There's no boundary between dream and reality, just confusion. As I lay on the bench seat at the cafe, my eyes slowly begin to focus. The woman sitting in the counter stands and folds her arms. She walks over and looks down at me. She is wearing a police uniform. The woman smiles a little bit as she appears to be relieved that I have regained consciousness. It looks like you have come around. Who are you? I tried talking to the unfamiliar woman. I'm Sybil. Sybil Bennett. I'm here because of all communications with this town suddenly went dead, and so I came to investigate. I'm Harry Mason. I brought my daughter to this town for some sightseeing. But on the way here there was an accident and I lost consciousness. Oh yes, Sybil, you haven't seen a little girl in this town, have you? A little girl? No, I haven't seen her. When I came to after the accident, my daughter was nowhere to be seen. I wasn't sure who was talking. The passenger door was open and she was gone. Cheryl, sorry, my daughter's name is Cheryl. She's a timid person, so it's hard to imagine that she headed out in this weird town alone. Plus, I was there in the driver's seat. And since she gave me no warning, it just doesn't make sense. Are you familiar with this area? There's no sign of anyone, and what's going on with the snow at this time of the year? Just what in the world has happened in this town? I said all of this while breathing deeply. I'm afraid I don't know either. I still haven't seen anyone other than you. It's like the town is as silent as a graveyard. Left me without even the means to contact any neighboring towns. I see. You also had an accident, right? I thought it was a good idea to head to the police station in this town alone on my motorcycle, but I guess I was going a little too fast. A girl suddenly jumped out into the road. I am pretty sure it was a girl. I almost hit her. I cut the handlebars hard in order to avoid her. After that, I can barely remember anything. In the actual games, Civil doesn't say any of this. There's a novelization of the game, but I don't know what it says because it's out only in Japanese and nobody ever bothered to translate it. So this is all the stuff that really adds to the lore. We never knew. This might not be canon or whatever, but this all really adds to the lore. After that, I can barely remember anything. When I came to, I was lying in the street in front of this cafe. So naturally I came in to get out of the snow. And then I found you sleeping there. I was having some kind of a terrible dream. As for if I made it here on my own, I don't remember at all. Just what in the world has happened in this town? What is going on with everything? Well, the situation is definitely strange. I will head back to Bram's for reinforcement and then return here. How about you? Sybil stood and fixed her collar with resolute fortitude. This has also been translated by fans because it only came out in Japanese for the Game Boy Advance for some reason. So someone, an Argentinian guy called Gyromancy, he's made a lot of Silent Hill stuff. He made this port, and I think he did the translation too, maybe collaborated with someone else, but this is a really rare game, and it's weird that I never really bothered to play it in full. I tried it a couple times, but not too seriously. I've got to look for Cheryl. There's no way I can just leave her here alone. I see. Well, I give you this then. You never know what might happen under these circumstances. If you feel threatened, then pull the trigger without hesitating. What a great advice from a cop. Thank you, Sybil. I think I should accept it because in the game it's not even a choice, he just gives it to you. I haven't really made my homework because if there's different endings and everything. I don't even know what I'm gonna get.
Are we the baddies?
Are we the baddies? No, I hope not. No, this is in the second one maybe, but in this one we're not. Unless this novelization goes in a different way. Having never handled a gun before, I am surprised by how heavy it is. But will you be alright? I am not like the average girl around here. I have undergone proper training. Sybil placed her hand on the exit door, but then she turns and faces me again. Harry, don't go shooting me by mistake or anything. She does say that in the main game. Not like other girls. I haven't had any training on how to stop bullets. She smiled after saying this, and then she disappeared into a thick fog. These are really cool also because these are renders of the characters specially made for this. There's a few things that come from the game, but there's a lot of stuff that has been specially made for this weird version. After being left alone in the cafe, I gazed at the handgun Sybil gave me for a little while. And then I thought about Cheryl, who had disappeared into this town. The figure I saw in the fog, that was definitely Cheryl. But she didn't answer my calls, so she was quite possibly moving away from me? I don't understand. I am getting a bit mixed up. Still, the one thing I know for sure is that Cheryl has vanished in this town. All I can do is look for her. I may not have any knowledge of the surroundings or any clues, but I won't find Cheryl if I stay here. I stood up energetically and placed my hand on the cafe door. Something's making noise. Huh? I look around the cafe. I walk in the direction the noise is coming from, and then I pick up the source of the noise. Radio? What's going on with this radio? Shit. At that moment the window glass shattered with a thunder and a giant bird-like creature flew into the cafe. No, it's not a bird. It's a creature with reddish-brown skin that looks as if it has been burned. Its belligerent pale green eyes. In its belligerent pale green eyes, it is clear that my life is in danger. Shoot it. Damn! I firmly held the handgun that I just received, quickly pointed at the creature and pulled the trigger. I am not used to using guns, so some of my shots hit the ceiling. That's it. I must set my aim. Its body. When it spread its wings, at that moment, when its body is undefended, I will. It swings its large arm wing down at me, and using that weapon, it just misses my neck. This is my chance. The target is its body. Mumbling, I tell myself that. However, I can't fix my aim very well. God damn it. My hands are shaking. Okay. As my third shot pierces it, it finally lost its life force and fell to the floor like a rag. What the hell? This is not a dream. What's happening to this place? Only the sound of my fist hitting the table echoes in the cafe. At my feet, the still warm corpse of the creature lies in the center of a pool of oddly colored liquid. After leaving the cafe, I decided to first head toward that alley from before. Black figures fly about in the heavens as if searching for prey. Then I come to realize a constant. The static on the radio changes based on their movements. The closer the monsters come to me, the louder the static gets. My sight is hindered by the fog, and on top of that, the weather is so bad that snow is falling. But this is extremely important information. I run through the snow that appears to have no intention of stopping. Increasing my speed each time the static comes in on the radio, I proceed into the fog. Following the thin thread of my memory, I finally arrive at the alley from before. How does he even know? I mean, he didn't even pick up the map here. In the game you actually have the map and the actual alley is marked, but he doesn't know how he got to the cafe, so why does he know how to go back there? Anyway, the evil atmosphere has dissipated and the light pours in along with snow from in between the buildings. I move into the alley and it dead ends after a bit. At the end of the alley I see a familiar sketchbook that appears to have been thrown away. It should say sketchbook in English, and it does in the final game, but there was like a placeholder kind of thing that said just gibberish in Roman letters, but it was just gibberish. I don't know why. It was the placeholder in the Japanese thing, and here it's back. In the finished game it does say drawing book. Or sketchbook? No, I think it's drawing. The likeness of me that Cheryl drew on its cover of the sketchbook. This is definitely Cheryl's. I try opening it. Inside the following is written in red ink. To school. Along Levin Street I slip through the back door of a house that had a doghouse and then head for the school. This is a lot more complex in the entire game. You have to come and go and go through. The streets are broken and you meet a lot of dead ends, so you have to do a lot to finally reach the school, but here I guess he just gets there. The surroundings gradually fill with darkness, and only the flashlight on my chest illuminates the strange street. Oh, we're at the school already, okay. I pass through the entrance to the elementary school grounds. When I open the door that leads into the school building, I see that even more darkness is waiting for me inside. Is it possible that Cheryl scribbled those letters to school? That wasn't a question, I read it as a question. I can't be sure whether Cheryl is here or not. It's just that I haven't have a clue other than that sketchbook. A guide map of a school has been tacked to the side wall of the entrance with a rusted thumbtack. After removing the map from the wall, I place it in my pocket and push open the heavy door that leads into the interior of the school building. It's funny that I don't have the map to the town, but I pick up the school map. My footsteps and the creaking of the hallway. They sound like screams as their reverberations rock my eardrums. I had been walking carefully step by step, but without realizing it, I had begun to run. There's no sign of anyone. The silent innards of the school building are dark, and with only the flashlight on my chest, it is impossible for me to see any of the details. Cheryl doesn't have a flashlight, so if she came here and got lost, then she probably wouldn't even be able to walk around. Since I have my flashlight turned on, she should be able to notice me easily. At least I have that modest hope. Then I notice that I have come to the entrance of the music room. I place my hand on the heavy door. This is, in the actual game, this is one of the weirdest, hardest puzzles. Or maybe I'm just dumb and I always had to just follow the walkthrough, because it's kind of tricky. When I open the door, I see that the inside of the room is large and there is a grand piano placed in the center. As I sit on the chair of the piano, I am shocked. The seat is still warm, as if someone had been sitting here just a few minutes before. This kind of thing really adds to the lore and everything, because Harry doesn't say or notice any of this kind of thing in the actual game. Cheryl's smile runs through the back of my mind. Cheryl often played the cheap upright piano in our home. It had become nice background music when I was working. Perhaps Cheryl had come to the music room? I hope this is not gonna be the puzzle. I gently open the cover over the piano keys. I notice that there's red mixed in among the black and white. I tried touching the liquid. It has a lukewarm feel. It is still holding heat. It is definitely blood. My heart pounds in my chest like an alarm bell. A large amount of blood spilled on the keys. If this is Cheryl's blood, then she may no longer be alive. Damn. I wiped the stain off my hands onto my jeans, stand and leave the music room. Okay. At the same time I closed the door, I thought I heard someone scream. Maybe it was just my imagination? I walked down the hallway. Testing? Yeah. I don't know if I'm too loud, maybe, but setting up this has been kind of weird. I don't know if I should save now that I think about it. There is a way to save. Just in case something happens. I don't know if you can perma die in this. It's gonna be a bit of a problem if I do. Okay. The sleety mixture of snow pounds hard against the windows facing the courtyard. I took a look through a window down at the dark courtyard. The not so large courtyard is dotted with areas in which withered plants are growing. In addition to that, an old clock tower is faintly visible. From here I cannot determine what time the clock is pointing to. Wait. Something appears to be wriggling about in the darkness. An animal? No, it's dark and I can't see so well, but it is slowly moving on two legs. It appears to be searching for prey. At that moment the radio I had clipped to my chest suddenly began making noise. As I returned my sight to the hallway, a sharp pain runs through my thigh. When I look down, I see that the tips of those long claws are piercing my thigh. Those oddly shaped monsters. They are posed like they want to hug me and have gathered around my waist. They are about to bite me. I'm gonna fucking shoot them. I instantaneously readied the gun I was carrying and I fired at the monster. Ow! I hit it, but its long claws dug deeper into my thigh, widening the wound. With my right hand, I push on its head part with force and knock it away. It then totters and falls down on its face. That was when I noticed that I had been completely surrounded by those monsters. I readied the gun. I fixed my aim on their heads and pulled the trigger with my trembling index finger. I continued to shoot as each one of them appears. The smoke from the gunpowder began to fill the air around me, so I placed one hand over my mouth. Am I gonna die? Even after the noise from the radio had stopped, I could only stand there, paralyzed in utter amazement among their corpses. Is Cheryl alright? She shouldn't have been carrying anything that could be used as a weapon. I began running. I can't just stand around. There's not a moment to lose. Cheryl is waiting for me. Wait a minute. Suddenly my vision became hazy or something, and I rubbed my eyes. When I look back, I see that all the bodies of the monsters have unexpectedly vanished. What? Was I hallucinating or something? Pulled a guide map out of my inner pocket and shined a flashlight on it. And then I confirmed that there is a boiler room located in the basement. My feet naturally began to take me there. Why? In the game you kind of don't have a choice because there are parts that are shut down and you want for the few things that you can make work. But here, I descend the stairs to the basement, taking one step at a time. A school building without light. As I move forward, I am beset on all sides by absolute darkness. As I head towards new fear and new enemies, my feet have no intention of stopping their advance. But oddly enough, I don't have a sense of justice. I just want to make sure that Cheryl is safe, to catch her in my arms. That is my only goal. The boiler is not running. If I simply press the switch in front of me, then this eerie machine should begin operating. However, I just stand still. I try pushing on the switch, but the boiler doesn't do anything at all. So I try opening the switchboard cover below the switch. Oh, this is gonna be a puzzle. Should we save before I fuck up the puzzle? Oh. Can I override this? It appears I must somehow supply power from the main power supply to the boiler. The power supply on the right is on the right. From the left of the switchboard, a thick pipe extends out and is connected to the boiler. Oh crap. Here we go. Got it. Oh, it's not a puzzle. It did it on its own. Okay. I have an instinctive feeling that by pushing the switch that something outrageous might happen. Although at the same time I also notice my daughter Cheryl's scream run through my heart like a sense of duty that makes me feel that I must push the switch. I slowly push the switch in. The entire school building shudders as if it were a giant ship. The entire elementary school building appears as if it has been swallowed by Cheryl's heart. What the fuck? As she stands alone in the darkness, I understand that I must do something. To the courtyard. The darkness softly whispers to me. Yeah, that... I don't know. At some point in the game, especially towards the end, Harry does feel like he's being summoned. But it doesn't happen so early. It's not like he hears voices. He just feels like he has no choice, and his path is kind of marked. The clock tower looks to be about tall enough to reach the third floor of the school. As at its base, there's a small door about big enough for an adult to enter while bent down. The door solemnly opened. After opening, the door seems to beckon the one standing in front of it to enter, which with an irresistible mental energy. I cannot resist that power. As I enter, the door closes with a hopeless thunder. Inside the clock tower, a psychologically loathsome stench hung in the air. Physiologically, what the fuck am I reading? A physiologically loathsome stench hung in the air. However, the smile of my beloved daughter in my heart lessens my uneasiness, and let me forget my fear, if even for only a moment. Reassured, I place my foot on the ladder leading underground with my greatest motive, called love. The inside finally became a small passage, about large enough for an adult. I run. Trusting that I will see her smile ahead, I run forward, stomping on concrete stained with the smell of death. What the hell is happening? Oh, freaking adblock updated itself. And it's desperate to tell me. Okay. Once I climb the ladder at the end of the tunnel, there will be no going back. I mutter Cheryl's name one more time. The depressing sound of the door closing echoes throughout the courtyard. Where am I? A raw, warm breeze brushes past my cheeks. The view lets me know that this is like a completely different world from the school I was just in. Once again I think, where am I? I descend the small stairs leading away from the clock tower and become even more convinced. An extremely religious looking design has been drawn in the center of the courtyard. Extremely religious looking. With a large double circle, a triangle has been placed, and within that a strange pattern that looks like hieroglyphics is drawn. I don't remember this being here before. I mutter. This is definitely the school I was just in. The placement of the trees and the construction of the building. However, an overpowering feeling of nausea rises up throughout my body. A revolting, horrible smell, like that of a stench of cutting into rotten meat, thickly wafts throughout the air. Okay, this is not in the game, but sure. And it's nearly visible to the eye. Stench? I begin to run. I can no longer bear to stay in this spot. By the time I place my hand on the door that leads inside the school building, I no longer have strength left to tell how long I was running. Maybe it was only for an instant? The school building has dramatically changed. Metal grated floors, blood covered walls, corpse like puppets hanging everywhere. It's like a nightmarish scene in which everything is isolated from the real world. In spite of that, I run. I'm searching for Cheryl. The unpleasant metallic sounds of my footsteps resonate throughout the inside of the school. And then, I open the door to the teacher's room. Perhaps the door is not installed correctly, as it took me several forceful tries to force it open. Once I enter the room, I am shocked. Desks are strewn about, and a raw, rotten stench rules the room. Yeah, there's no one home. Why the hell am I gonna call home? Let's try the police. With slight hope, I pick up the telephone receiver. Just as I had guessed, the depressing busy signal just repeats over and over. As I gently hung up the telephone receiver, I realized that all means for contacting the outside world have already been lost. I must find Cheryl right away and escape from this insane world with her. I begin to leave the room. My heart rapidly contracts. The mechanical bell sound echoes throughout the room. I nervously approach the telephone and once again pick up the receiver. Daddy, help me! Cheryl! There's no mistaking it. I firmly press the receiver against my ear. Daddy, where are you? Cheryl, is this Cheryl? At that moment, Cheryl's voice is replaced with a busy signal. I knew it, I think. Cheryl is here. Being located in the residential area, many children probably come to this school. The interior of the elementary school is larger than I imagined. Including classrooms, there are a lot of rooms, so locating Cheryl will be extremely difficult. If Cheryl wasn't brought here by someone and instead came here of her own free will, then perhaps she might be in that one room? What one room? I spin around run to the stairs at the end of the hall, and then sprint up them. I have come to the library and my eyes are drawn to the open book here. It was children's book. Why am I that this is weird for the choose your own adventure aspect. Why do I have to decide what kind of book it was? It is what it is. Children's book? Probably not, but I don't know if I should I save? Just in case. Anyway, I'm probably not gonna have time today to explore too much different scenarios, but let's say it was a dictionary of religious science, because that's what it is in the real game. Depending on the region, each have the characteristics of having individual doctrines. From ancient times, the practice of offering a living sacrifice was the only way to avoid disaster. Most believers are those who have chosen to renounce the world for the sake of their beliefs, while those believers who cannot yet give up their material possessions need to deepen their knowledge of the sacred texts. However, some believers have a tendency to strictly hide the fact that they are believers from others. This is not what the book says in the game. This is because they believe that if This is because they believe that if the fact that they are believers becomes known, then their effectiveness would become nothing. Even with black magic, which is thought to have vanished in present times, its magical spells are actively researched in such areas. In that process, an altar set alight with a sacred flame and a symbolic seal are required. Then, by summoning an evil being and bringing it to contact with a saint, a new existence is said to be able to be created. Okay, this is very much the core of what's happening. In this case, the saint is not limited to a priest, as an inanimate object can also be used. Is this a reference to 4? Because the entire room is the womb and the mother? But this came out kind of around the same time as the first game came out, right? I don't even know. I become gripped with the sense that my actions have been controlled by someone this entire time. Coming to the library, seeing that specific page in the open book. Even whatever it is that I must do now, it is a decision that is out of my hands. Everything that has happened has been in someone's hand. I have gradually come to understand this. Even still, I probably cannot determine my own course. I accept the direction from the unseen one, to whom I must obey. Harry's not that docile, but okay. In order to find Cheryl, there's no other alternative. Yeah, there's that too. I now know where it is I need to go. You do? As I journey there, I walk firmly, stepping forward one step at a time. Yeah, as one walks. I descend a staircase from which uncomfortably warm air flows, and I find an elevator at a space that invites me to ascend even further as its doors slowly open. Once I enter, its doors close. We could use some visuals here, but okay. And in the next moment, with a rusty clunk sound, the elevator begins to descend at a high rate of speed. Just how far down is it going? All I can do is go with the flow. Oh, what? Why are we already here? We shouldn't see this until the end? Question mark. Well, we might have to go back to and maybe choose a different book if this ends here. Gradually, the elevator and I are enveloped in hot, humid air. The elevator stops and I step off as its door opens. Beyond a short passage, a dazzling light emitted from a small room. A small room which has been waiting for my arrival. In the center, the fires of hell burned, and everything made it look like this room was meant for prayer. And then it was there. It slowly moved around, the enormous cones from which flames and ash rose. The lizard looks to have suddenly mutated. Its outer shell is a mucous membrane type. I did this one in my daily challenge in April. It just stares at me, and with surprisingly comfortable speed, it looks for a chance to attack. Here. Yeah, when it's about to attack, you should run, so should we try to run? I was overwhelmed by its size. I've got to escape. I don't stand a chance with a feeble weapon in my pocket. I look for an escape route. However, the entrance I came through is now closed by a thick, solid metal fence without any opening which I could slide through. I cannot escape. At that moment, a part of my memory was suddenly awakened. Definitely. I remember that book I just picked up not too long ago. Its contents ran about in my head. While paying very close attention to the movements of my opponent, I recalled its passages. Even in black magic, which is thought to have vanished in present times, its magical spells are actively researched in such areas. In that process, an altar is set alight with a sacred flame and a symbolic seal were required. Then by summoning an evil being and bringing it to contact with a saint, a new existence is said to be able to be created. In this case, the saint is not limited to a priest, it can be as an inanimate object can also be used. The monster in front of me was possibly summoned by or descended from black magic. However, that literature did not contain any information that would help me right now. In the actual game you do, there's a story of a hunter that tells you to shoot the monster while it's open its mouth or something. Like that. Exactly, yes. Splits open. I'm in danger! No, that's rough. When I returned to my senses, its wide open mouth was right in front of me. Opened in a way that suggested that it planned to swallow me whole. It's too late. I was caught in its mouth, easily lifted, and then crushed by its teeth as I fell inside it. God damn. Am I dead? I should have shot it? Does it continue? When I came to, I found myself in the middle of a dark room. Can I die in this game? I don't even know that. Where is this? I wondered to myself. I've been neglecting the voice acting. I always wanted to voice Harry myself. The monster from before has vanished. I wanted to make like a fan-fiction-y thing way back in 1999 when this came out, when the original game came out. And I just wanted to make kind of a thing where I voiced Harry myself. Especially because I couldn't make Game Harry say anything that he didn't say, so I could only voice him myself. I heavily stood up and then waited motionless for a bit until my eyes came into focus. Somehow this looks to be the boiler room. It's oddly quiet. Maybe I was dreaming? My very exhausted body seems to have also recovered somehow from being chewed by the monster. The low hum of the boiler strangely calms my nerves. And then I sense the presence of a person and I shift my gaze. There was a girl standing there. She was wearing dark blue clothing and her light brown hair was neatly combed. The girl was just staring at me, right at me. Once I noticed her and began to step towards her, she completely disappeared, as if her body was just dissolved into the air in the room. I was alone in the room again. What was that? After standing for a bit, I let out a long breath and then placed my hand on the door at the entrance. sunlight is shining into the hall of the school building. I wouldn't call it sunshine because it's really very overcast, but yeah. As usual, the snow is still outside, but I am gripped with a strange feeling of relief. As if a cancerous cell had just been removed from me. Filled with relief, I slowly walked towards the exit of the school building. And then I learned the chair was not there. From the loud sound of the church bells that seemed to call out to me. I began to run towards the church on a road half covered in mud. Snow falls above my head, some of which freezes my hair as chilly as air flows by. It's funny that it was snow in the original game. Harry says, is it snow at this time of year?" and he never addresses it again. Here in this one, they are calling it snow. They are referring it to it as snow. It's freezing his hair and everything. But in the movie they turned it into ash. Because they changed the entire story and they made it like a ghost town that had been evacuated because of the fire underneath the mines and shit. When I reached the church, I pushed open the heavy door without hesitation. A cross is mounted on the front wall. Long benches are lined up on both sides of the small walkway. It was as if time had stopped for this familiar style church. In front of the altar, a sly-looking woman with cold eyes looks down at me with an eerie grin. As I walked up to her, stepping one step at a time, she gazed at me without blinking. She looked as if she had predicted that I would arrive. "Were you ringing that bell?" The woman snorted with a hump. "I've been expecting you. It was foretold by Gyromancy." "What are you talking about?" "I knew you'd come. You want the girl, right?" "The girl? You're talking about Cheryl." My eyes grew wide. "I see everything." "You know something? Tell me." "Stay back." The woman held back the palm of her hand at me and then lowered her chin in a way that suggested, "Please calm down. Nothing is to be gained by floundering around at random. You must follow the path of the hermit, concealed by flowers." "What? What are you talking about?" I asked once more without hiding my bewilderment. "Here, the flowers, a cage of peace. It can break through the walls of darkness and counteract the wrath of the underworld. This will help you. Make haste to the hospital before it's too late." The woman held up a strange object and then softly placed it on the desk on top of the altar. "Wait, don't go yet." Her story was unclear and I don't understand it. I will... Yeah, what choice do I have? I mean... She lives here. I choose to believe her story without objection. All that remains in the church is the reverberations of the sound of a door closing. I go after that woman. I am convinced that that woman definitely knows some secret of some sort. However, the knob on the door that she went through will not turn at all. It must be locked from the other side. Damn. Now I'm the only one left in the church. Almost as if taken from a nightmare, this space has heat. This warmth, it feels like it's protecting me from something. That's the best way to describe the heat. I move away from the door and begin walking to the altar that woman was at. The object that the woman was just holding has been placed there. The flowers. That is certainly what that woman had called this. I tried picking it up, and then I placed it back on top of the desk right away. What? Why? It is power. The overwhelming power of the gods rests inside this four-sided object. It was a sensation like an electrical current passing into the palm of my hand, and then power moving throughout every nook and cranny of my body. I pick it up once more. This time I calmly take it into my hand and then place it in my pocket. For some reason I am convinced that this object will help me find Cheryl. What about the key? I pick up the key that was next to the flowers, open the door of the church, and rush out into the heedless snow world again. Hospital? That woman certainly said something about one. Alchemilla Hospital. The only hospital I could find on the map was that one. I could see my breath as I exhaled while I headed toward the entertainment district. The bridge to the entertainment district has been raised so the boats can pass by in the river below. In other words, it's split in the middle and it is fixed in a raised position that makes it look like a Japanese katakana character. Okay, I understand the drawbridge. You don't have to. Well, I entered the nearby drawbridge control room. I placed the key I was holding into the control panel and forcefully turned it to the right, while emitting a sound like an old woman laughing. Okay, the bridge finally begins to lower, inviting me to the entertainment district. After crossing the bridge, I shudder. The temperature is gradually declining, or maybe it's just a result of a thing inside me that produces nervousness and fear. On this wide road, there is not a single motorcycle running. I am running right down the center of it. If I continue forward, Alchemilla Hospital should be on the right. An old building appears in the thick fog. I love Alchemilla so much. On the signboard, Alchemilla appears in faded letters. The eeriness caused me to hesitate for an instant, but in the next moment I placed my hand on the cold gate. I opened the heavy hospital gate and then opened the door directly to my right that has entrance written on it. The inside of the hospital is wrapped in silence. To the left there is a reception area in which various papers are neatly placed on a shelf. Waiting benches are lined up along the back of this hall and a television is pointed at them. I do not feel the presence of any patients or even any people. Only faint light pours in through the windows from the cloudy sky. I cannot read for shit. The hall is filled with a trace scent of alcohol which penetrates my nose. I begin walking. After passing through the waiting room, I reach a long corridor. I open the door marked examination room. At almost the exact time as I opened the door, a man inside jumped up of his chair. He is holding a handgun in his right hand. I wait! I hold my right hand out to try to stop the man. Hold it! Stop! Don't shoot! Wait, I'm not here to fight. The man calms down and lowers his ready right arm. My name is Harry Mason. I'm in town on vacation. I said all of this without pausing, and then the man took a deep breath and began to speak. Thank God, another human being. Do you work here? I was truly relieved. Silent Hill, which has become a habitat for strange monsters. Those words showed his candid questioning of the situation. I'm Dr. Michael Kaufman. I work at this hospital. So maybe you can tell me what's going on? That man who called himself Kaufman once again stirs in the chair she's sitting in. I really can't say. I was taking a nap in the staff room. When I woke up, it was like this. Everyone seems to have disappeared. And it's snowing out this time of year. He looks off at the floor in the examination room. There, on the floor, the corpse of a still warm monster lay on its side. Something's gone seriously wrong. Did you see those monsters? Have you ever seen such aberrations? Ever even heard of such things? You and I both know creatures like that don't exist. Yeah. And then I turned to face him as I realized something. Have you seen a little girl anywhere? I'm looking for my daughter. She's only 7, short, black hair. She's missing? I'm sorry. But with all those monsters around, I highly doubt that she's... Sorry, I didn't mean to alarm you. Your wife, she's here with you? She died 4 years ago. Now it's just me and my daughter. I see. I'm sorry. Well, I'd better be going. I can't just sit around here doing nothing. So long. Good luck out there. The examination room door shuts powerlessly. From Michael Kaufman. Oddly enough, I might have completely memorized that name. Why wouldn't you memorize it? Huh? I suddenly noticed that there is something on the floor that looks like a white scrap of paper. What is this? I pick it up. Letters have been disorderly scribbled on it. Arrival tomorrow morning. Be prepared. What is this? I don't know what to do. Why didn't I do my homework to see what was more convenient? Let's check if there's anything else. I carefully look around on the floor, but it doesn't appear that anything else interesting has been dropped. I look around the examination room. Up until a short time ago, this was just a normal room in a hospital, with its various instruments and tools, all about each aptly arranged per function. Only people have been erased from this normal scene, making the situation unnatural. I leave the examination room. I pass through the medicine room and reach a planked floor corridor that silently extends in an L shape. I moved forward and found that there was an elevator with a large door at the end of the corridor. I try pressing the buttons beside it. Nothing happens. It looks like the power is off. There are several doors in the corridor. I begin opening each one in order. I open the door marked meeting room. I head inside and close the door behind me. A large table rests in the center of this room, and I notice that there is something glittering on top of it. I grasp the light green key, leave the room, and once again step into the chilly corridor. The next room looks to be the kitchen. I guess that the food for patients is probably prepared here. Various bronze cooking utensils are neatly arranged in order on the stainless steel countertop. It does not appear that anything terribly important is here. I carefully look through the various cooking utensils. Inside a large pot there is nothing at all. While continuing to search see if there might be some clue here or not. I noticed that on the far wall various objects had been scattered about. I carefully move forward on the wet floor as not to slip. Something is there. I reach out my hand towards the thing in front of me. I move past one of the sinks and notice an empty plastic bottle sitting on the end of a counter. Perhaps this might come in handy for something? I mutter this and grab the empty plastic bottle. Then I leave the kitchen. After leaving the kitchen, I head right and place my hand on the first door that I come to. I notice the word director's office out of the corner of my eye and I open the door. From inside the room a strong stench overflows outward and causes me to feel dizzy. Someone has ransacked the room. Behind the desk that probably belongs to the director, several bottles have been broken, leaving red and blue liquid spilled all over the floor. If I used a plastic bottle... Oh shit! I don't know what to do. I never looked at like a walkthrough or anything. In the actual game, you just pick all the liquid and it's all red. It's not red and blue. Did I check a walkthrough? I'm not finding anything. It's probably gonna alter what endings I get. I don't even know. God dang it. Well, crap, why did that... Let's save just in case, but... The mixture of purple? Well, that is like both liquid and yeah, in the main game it's just red and it's simpler, but... I get out the plastic bottle and I use a fragment of bottom section of one of the broken bottles to pour the purple liquid into it. The sticky liquid drips into the plastic bottle. The last drop lingered, but once I finally hit the surface of the liquid, already inside the plastic bottle, I tightly closed the cap and then left the director's office. Funny that I think if you play the main game, the first time that you play this, you don't even have this option. I think you have to first have like the bad ending and only then you can realize and go back. Maybe I'm wrong. In any case, you don't really realize what is it that you're supposed to do, and it's like an optional thing, but it's gonna be important for the ending that you're gonna get. I crept out into the corridor once more and I stood in front of a door that was closest to the elevator. I open the door, the reverberations of the sounds of it opening and then closing shake my eardrums. The walls are made of concrete, and a few steps in a staircase leading to the basement extends like the folds inside the body of a snake. What a description. It is dark and difficult to see, but it looks like there's a door at the bottom of the staircase. Be brave, I mutter to myself. Leaving only the echoes of my footsteps, I descend the staircase to hell, one step at a time. And then I open the door leading to darkness. A world without light. I could see that the electricity was most likely out in the entire hospital. I pressed the switch on the flashlight on my chest and tried lighting the area. That's the floor. It is creepy, and yet there is nothing noticeably out of place. Chilly air drifts from the cold concrete, and it seems as if touching it would completely rob my body of its warmth. While moving through the corridor, I try opening the doors as I come to them. One opens with a creak. Emergency generators written on the machine that occupies most of the room. To reach the second floor and above it did not look like there was any method other than using the elevator. So without hesitation I turn the machine on. I immediately head for the elevator. I press the up button. The heavy sound of the motor and the sounds of metal parts coming into contact with each other almost sound like intertwined screams. With a ding, the elevator stops and its doors slowly open. The inside of the elevator is large. It seems to be about big enough to accept 3 hospital beds. More like stretchers. Buttons for each floor are lined up to the right of the elevator door. They are marked 3, 2, 1 and B from the top down. First I head to the second floor. However, after I step off the elevator, I find that the door connected to the corridor that leads to the room on this floor is locked. With no alternative, I try heading to the third floor, but I find that it is in the same state. Well, what now? I have already tried moving to every floor. With nothing else to do, I re-entered the elevator and then could not believe my eyes. Of the buttons for each floor, 3 was definitely the highest floor just before. In spite of that, a new 4 button has been added. The elevator doors open with a familiar sound and I step out on the 4th floor. Again, I think. A condition extremely similar to which I encountered after passing through the basement in the clock tower at the elementary school was present right in front of me. Dark red rusted walls, metal grated floors, and a ringing in my ears that seems to creep up from the depths of hell is a menace to my mental state. I open the door in front of me and a long corridor extends beyond it. I very carefully move forward while keeping my eyes fixed on the wall. Could Cheryl be here? The only way to find out is to search this place. Huh? I can hear something in the darkness in front of me. It sounds like the groan of something dragging on the ground. The owner of that groan is slowly closing in on me, but I cannot see what it is for sure with the faint light of my flashlight. I instantly... It is probably not human. I firmly grip the gun, positioning my finger on the trigger, and begin to walk towards it with a gun ready beside my face. Eventually something white enters my field of vision. I adjust the aim of a flashlight on my chest with my hand and shine light on it. A white figure appeared, which is stooped over like an old woman. It looked to have undergone a grotesque change. The monster has a very large hump on its back, which twitches and moves as if it were alive. In one hand it holds a knife, which it waves as it approaches me. In the instant I raised my gun, the monster began to run. By the time I realized this, it slashed at me. I instantly dodged the attack, and thanks to that, my clothes were slashed, and I had only a scratch on my side. I suppose I was lucky. Damn! I kick it in the face with the bottom of my shoe, and it falls down on its back. It then begins to stand for its next attack. I close my left eye and steady my aim. Even after one shot hit, its movement does not change at all. I fire more bullets at it. It is laughing. In a voice great enough to shake the entire world, it laughs as its face twists and distorts. They don't laugh really in the game. I cannot give up. When the final bullet loaded into my gun hits, it finally stops laughing. This time it is face down, and I begin crushing it with my foot. Finally, it completely stops moving. That is insane. This is insane. Another monster approaches from behind the corpse of the first one. At this rate, all the bullets in the world would not be enough. All I can do is run. Fuck. Does this really make a difference? I begin to run towards the monster in front of me. That doesn't sound very wise. Evading the large swings of its knife, I run down the dark corridor, occasionally stumbling. I see a staircase leading down. I race down it, knowing not whether if something is waiting for me or not at its base. I am thinking about Cheryl. Oh, I was supposed to press. Even if she's held prisoner somewhere in this hospital, there is no guarantee. There's no guarantee that I can rescue her. In fact, there is no reason that this staircase I am descending should lead me to Cheryl. I begin to think that all of my current actions are all meaningless. However, generally speaking, since I arrived in Silent Hill, no, since the day before leaving for Silent Hill, no, even longer ago, since the day I met Cheryl, perhaps, I have had no choice in my actions. That they have been determined by someone's will. As I continue to the base of the stairs, I contemplate, what if my life up to this point had just been on one track? As I descended the stairs, my ears began ringing again. The ringing is so forceful that it cannot even be compared to before, and it forces me to squat down. What in the world has happened? Perhaps I have opened a door to hell, a door that should never be opened? Something is clearly changing, and it is for the worse. Going back will not be permitted. I must move forward. I put my hands together on my head, and then I squeeze my temples tightly by using my elbows. The ringing then begins to sound like a demon is whispering in my ears. However, it doesn't stop. I blindly begin to run. Even if I am to die in this mad land, I must save my beloved Cheryl first. Believing that the answers are beyond the door, I know that I must discover at least one clue. Several overlapping square figures are shaking in time with the sound of my heart. What? It is a wall at the end of the area. Another wall lies perpendicular to it. There's a door present in the wall with a plate that says storehouse. Okay. Some chemicals have been placed on the table that is next to the door. There are 3 beakers of different sizes and a test tube. Okay, this is gonna be a puzzle. Test tube contains a liquid that is of a different color to that which is in the leftmost beaker. I found a memo. Can we save just in case? Created, you must come up with 1 deciliter of liquid and pour it into a test tube. No more, no less, that man had said. But there are no graduations on the beakers. This makes it impossible to come up with 1 deciliter using the 3 large beakers. Using the 10 deciliter, 7 deciliter and 5 deciliter beakers, you must create an amount of exactly 1 deciliter. Ah boy. Or won't budge an inch. This is going to be done automatically. Does the Gyromancy not know how to adapt the actual puzzles to make them really playable? Well, I'm not complaining about it. Got it! Thank God that I didn't have to think this. Harry melted the chain. Why again an omniscient narrator talking about Harry? Harry melted the chain on the door with a completed liquid. Could have hit it with a gun or something. Why did I need to put together some acid? The door slowly opens with a click. Inside the storehouse, nothing important looking stands out. I carefully edge, again back to first person, I carefully edge between the simple metal shelves that have been placed here in a specific arrangement. However, nothing is here that makes this room worthy of being called a storehouse. I am drawn towards a cabinet in the back of this room. This is because I found the presence of wooden cabinets strange and unsuitable for this simple town. What? I approach the cabinet and try to open it. However, it will not budge. Well, if there's an important clue inside this cabinet, then I should be able to open it right away. Then I gradually come to understand that there is no need to do so. The necessity of the cabinet here is thin, as anything could be used to satisfy the requirement. If something is needed to block my path, then a bunch of stones could work just as well. I thought this as I looked at the scratches on the floor that were the same width as the cabinet. The marks on the floor are still fresh. They tell me that some other human probably came down here. Is there something beyond this cabinet? Using my body weight, I slowly push the cabinet from its original position. The existence of the inviting door behind the cabinet seems completely natural. So of course I place my hand on it. The room is very inorganic. While shining my flashlight about, I move through the room and eventually discover a grate in the floor. From between the bars in the grate, I can see a staircase that leads to a lower floor. Grate makes a clunk sound as I open it. I just open it. In the game you have to find alcohol and pour it on the vines and then set it on fire, so the vines will burn and only then you can open it. It is quite heavy. Even though I'm sure of my strength, I do not believe that I could pick it up. Okay. After opening the grate enough so that I can pass through it, I gently place one foot on the staircase that has appeared. Okay. Slowly and cautiously, confirming each step as I go, I descend the staircase to a mad place in which light cannot reach. Finally I reach a wide room, much wider than I imagined. I guess this is based on the echoes of my footsteps. I am running through this eerie space that lies in the basement of the hospital. It is lifeless, and there is no light. All I can do is run through it. Does this world have an end? Or did it even have a beginning? Everywhere I go, all that I do is solve the mysteries that appear one after the other and then move on. I understand this, and I expect that the same situation will continue. Still, all I can do is move forward. My thinking always results in this conclusion. This door has awaited me. I slowly turn the knob. The inside of this room is different from the ones I have encountered up to this point, and I can feel life in here. There are traces and a sense that someone was in this room. I softly pick up the picture frame that was displayed on the desk. Alessa. That is engraved on the picture frame. I gaze at the picture. It is a face that I think I have seen somewhere. I try to remember where as hard as I can, but in the end I cannot remember at all. I am sure that I have met this girl somewhere. And more than just once. A diary has been placed next to the picture frame. I reach out. With my hand. I'm curious about this, so let's just save and pick up the diary. Something is written in the diary. There's no diary in the game, so I'm really interested in this and what lore might this bring. April 15th. From today, this will be my new diary. Lisa secretly gave this to me as a present. And it means that soon I should be able to take my bandages off. My God, Alessa. A bird landed on a branch of the tree outside my window. I gazed at it for a bit. Seeing those beautiful colors, I thought again that it must be spring. I wish I could play outside like the other children. It is now afternoon, and they have come again. I pretended to be asleep, but it looks like they did not notice. They talked quietly as not to be heard outside of my room. I do not understand the meaning of what they discussed. They never talk in this room, I thought. April 16. Someone is talking outside of my room. It sounds serious. But it doesn't seem to be about me. Perhaps it's because he doesn't want to disturb me? Even the hospital director has not come to see me much lately. I don't like the director very much, so I'm honestly quite happy. April 16 PS. By some strange chance, I learned a certain person is coming to visit me. April 17. Everyone has been in a rush for some reason since before sunrise this morning. Something about a dead person coming back to life. Does that really happen? It is a frightening story. And because of that, my meal was a little late. The cold soup is disappointing. Suddenly I remembered him. Maybe he has forgotten me, but I definitely remember him. Lately I think of him often. I want to see him. It looks like my visitor is coming in the evening. On the day after tomorrow. There's like a third scenario or something like that I don't know if it was like DLC or something that is now lost media. And it's about some boy that doesn't exist in any other version of the game. I don't know if he's talking about him or he's talking about who the hell. Because we never, that's one of the things about the main game, we never hear Alessa. I always suspected there should have been some cutscene with her that was cut from the game. Before then, just once. April 18. It is finally tomorrow. I will not tell anyone about this. If I tell anyone, they will probably strap me to my bed. Before they arrive, the friend that can share my feelings, the only one. I wonder if she will realize this? What are you talking about? Tonight, I will go to bed early. April 19. I must get out of here. For the first time in a while, I have wore my favorite pendant. Does it look good on me? I will write about the results here tomorrow. April 20. The last page is blank. I placed the diary under my arm and prepared to leave the room. However, my eyes once again returned to the picture in the frame that the diary had been placed next to. She was all alone. Lisa. But I have Cheryl. The girl in the picture is appealing to me for something. In the painful silence I can feel a spiritual message. After wavering, I removed the picture from the frame and slid it into my pocket. And then I left the room. Alessa. Just who is she? And why was her picture on display in the deep basement of a hospital? And where was that strange feeling of a life that I sensed in that room coming from? I am unable to figure any of it out. And so I am irritated. I head for the examination room on the first floor. All the mysteries of the hospital are surely prepared in that room. Believing so, I race up the stairs while having difficulty breathing. I need a drink. When I open the door to the examination room, I feel the presence of a person and I stop moving. The inside of the room is dark. Someone is here. Who is it? Fire gun. Oh God, Lisa. Once the woman realized that I was a human, she ran towards me and threw her arms around me like a child would. Finally, someone else who's okay. After mumbling those words in a tearful voice, she held me more tightly. Who are you? Oh, who are you? My name is Lisa Garland. What's yours? Harry Mason. After we exchanged our simple introductions, I sat in a chair, and she sat on the bed, so that we were facing each other. The woman that called herself Lisa had blonde hair and an intelligent look to her. Maybe she might know something? At the moment I was about to speak, the woman began talking. Harry, tell me what's happening here. Where is everybody? I must have gotten knocked out. When I came to, everyone was gone. Her voice did not feel like it was coming from her body, and was accompanied by a strange reverberation. It's awful. So you don't know anything either? Great. I just don't get it. It's like this is all some kind of a bad dream. As I select my words, I have a feeling that even my own words are not coming from my body. Yeah, a living nightmare. Let me ask you, have you seen a little girl around here? Short, black hair, 7 years old. I muttered Cheryl in a voice that Lisa would not hear. 7-year-old girl. What, she's your daughter? Yes, a 7-year-old girl. I can't say that I have. I was unconscious all this time. I'm sorry. That's alright. That was just as I expected, but I continue asking questions without showing my disappointment. Do you know anything about all that weird stuff in the basement? No, why? Is there something down there? You don't know? Don't you work here? We're under strict orders never to enter the basement storeroom. After changing the subject to the hospital basement, I began to notice that my thoughts were becoming muddy. So I really don't know. What did you say was down there? Well, I try as hard as I can to remember the pitiful sight of that room in the basement. However, in trying to trace my memory back to then, that ringing, which had been gone for a while, returned to my ears. A sound like the bells of a church runs throughout my head. Damn, my head. What's wrong? Harry? Harry, let me help you. Harry? After a while I noticed that my body is freezing cold. It is as if I'm dead. But I'm clearly conscious. Where's Lisa? I was definitely talking to her in this examination room. I no longer feel the evil presence that I felt in this room. No, in this entire hospital, up until just before. From the window, soft light is pouring into the room. Was I dreaming? As I slowly get up, I hear the sound of a door opening. I instantly look toward the source of the sound. The creepy woman I met at the church is standing there with an expressionless look on her face. You were too late. It's you. Yes, Dahlia Gillespie. Tell me everything you know. What's going on? Darkness, she responded before I was even done speaking. The town is being devoured by darkness. The woman continues while maintaining a devout look. Strength must overcome petty desire, childish sleep talk. I knew this day would come. What are you talking about? I don't understand a word of this. Believe the evidence of your eyes. So I should believe the evidence of my eyes? I understand. I am in a situation in which I can only believe what I have seen with my own eyes. The other church in this town, that is your destination. This is beyond my abilities. Only you can stop it now. Have you not seen the crest marked on the ground all over town? So that's what I saw in the schoolyard. What does it mean? It is the mark of Samael. Don't let it be completed. I am very poor, Liz Mamorsky. Hey, wait! Dahlia Gillespie. She places an oddly shaped key on an examination table with a tap, spins around, heads to the door, and then opens it. I open the door that she closed and roll out into the hospital corridor, but she's nowhere to be seen. The other church. But if I exclude the church I already visited, I do not see anything that looks like a church on the map. I suddenly have a map. I slowly open the phone book attached to the payphone in the corridor. In there, a mark is present to guide me. Okay, that's a bit too much. She drops the key. The key has like a kind of a mark of the green lion thing. Maybe I could look that up on the phone book myself instead of everything being marked for me. It is next to the phone number for an antique shop in the northeast area of the shopping district. Okay, I'm already there. It's funny how they stretch some bits that happened instantly in the game and then they skip a lot. The door to the antique shop is ominously open. The open door connects to a staircase leading down to the basement. At the end of the stairs, there is another door. Not the basement, but it's the actual shop is like in the underground part. I insert the key that I was carrying and slowly turn it. The inside of the shop is small. I take a look around using my flashlight and I find that the place is such a mess that looks almost as if it had been ransacked by a thief. Is something here? First glance, I don't think that there is anything here that concerns me. However, I did not miss that which was hidden behind a shelf. I move the shelf step by step and an eerie passage leading into darkness appears. What is this? Harry! I look back towards the familiar voice. Sybil? Sybil, who should have left for the next town over to call for backup, was here. I'm glad you're okay. I shouldn't have left you. Things are worse than I thought. It's nuts. What are you doing here? I thought you left town. I saw you go in here, so I followed you. I couldn't get out. All the roads out of town are blocked. Cars have completely stopped running. The phones and radios are still out too. What about my daughter? Did you see her? I did see a girl. My heart began to beat faster. Was it Cheryl? I only caught a glimpse of her through the fog. I went after her, but she vanished. I don't know about your daughter, but... Did you just let her go? Where was it? On Bagman Road. She was heading towards the lake. Now, don't get excited. It wasn't like she ran off exactly. There was no place for her to go. The road has been obliterated. What? So then Cheryl... It was like she was walking on thin air. An uncomfortable silence occurs between the two of us. What about you? Anything? Yeah. I met this bizarre woman. Her name's Dahlia Gillespie. Do you know her? Dahlia Gillespie? No. And? She said something about the town being devoured by darkness. Gibberish like that. Any idea what it means? Darkness devouring the town. Must be on drugs. They sell them to tourists. The force still can't figure out who's behind it. None of our leads have panned out, and the investigation is stalled. Drugs? Sybil's response was far from what I had imagined, so I shake my head back and forth. What could drug trafficking have to do with all this? I really don't know. But maybe that's the darkness she was talking about. That's all I can think of. Sybil looked slightly irritated and took a long breath. Then she shifted her gaze to the passage behind the shelf. What's this? I just discovered it. Maybe there's something back there. Let's have a look. Sybil. I cannot beat her bravery. Even though I look like this, I am a police officer. Please trust me. I look like this. I will stay here. If anything looks wrong, then yell back to me. Sybil brightly smiled and then disappeared into the darkness. After a bit, I was no longer able to hear the echoes of her footsteps from the passage. It looks like the passage is longer than I thought. I took another look around the disorganized antique shop. The shop in itself is just beyond the bottom of the stairs, landing down from the entrance. Inside it looks like what I would expect an antique shop to look like, as it is all cozy and such. Wasn't it ransacked? So things like that passage leading deeper in are unimaginable. Okay, story and enjoy. I think I still have like an extra hour of this. I don't even know, because some parts are really sort of abbreviated and some are stretched. Drowsiness is threatening my consciousness. It is not unreasonable. We left past midnight, and without sleeping a wink, I have been walking all over town while searching for Cheryl. I am over the verge of falling asleep. On the verge. A scream from what I think was Sybil brought me around. I know I heard it. I energetically stand up and rush into the passage. There is something at the end of the passage. Something dangerous is. I made my way to the room at the end of the passage. It is small, and the smell of something having been burned in the air. Once I saw an altar appear in the darkness, I realized this was the church that Dahlia was talking about. I look around the area. An axe has been displayed on the wall, but nothing else stands out. While shaking my head, I decide to try going back through the passage I came from. And at that moment a light bright enough to make me look away emanates from the altar. I think I heard the sound of a giant match being struck, and then two enormous pillars of flame rose from the altar. As if a ritual was beginning or something. Even at the distance I'm at, I can feel the heat from those flames. My surprise and that heat caused me to fall into a state of barely being conscious, and then I gradually lose myself until I finally end up lying face down in the concrete floor. And the coldness that remained in the floor was drawn away by the heat as my consciousness grew distant. Harry? Are you okay? Harry? Harry? Where am I? Harry? Lisa? Then I'm in the hospital? You were having a bad dream. Was I? Hey, you don't look too good. Are you okay? I'm fine. Nothing you need to worry about. Well, if you're sure. Lisa? Do you know a woman named Dahlia Gillespie? Oh yeah, that crazy Gillespie lady. She's kind of famous around here. She never sees anybody, so I don't know that much about her. But I heard her kid died in a fire, and supposedly she's been crazy ever since. Well, she says the town is being devoured by the darkness. Do you have any idea what she's talking about? The town devoured by the darkness. Yes, I think I do. Before this place was turned into a resort, the townspeople here were on the quiet side. Everybody followed some kind of queer religion. Weird occult stuff. Black magic, that kind of thing. As young people moved away, the people figured they'd been summoned by the gods. Evidently, things like that used to happen around here all the time. Before the resort, there wasn't really anything else out here. Everyone was so flipped out. Gotta blame it on something. Then a lot of new people came in, and everybody clammed up about it. A cult. Last time I heard anything about it was, gosh, years ago. When several people connected with developing the town died in accidents. People said it was a curse. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm rambling. I'll shut up. The reverberations of Lisa's "I'll shut up" remained in my ears. I wondered how long I had been asleep. I found myself in that antique shop again, lying face down in the same position I was in just a short while ago. Was that another dream? Did I pass out again? I don't want to think so, but maybe this is all just going on in my head. I could have had a car accident and now I'm lying unconscious in a hospital bed. I don't know what's real anymore. Sybil said Cheryl was heading towards the lake, but the road to the lake is blocked. Aren't there any other roads? Lisa would probably know. Although I'm limited in what I can do, I still have one piece of information for finding Cheryl. So I cannot just remain here. I energetically stand up, open the door of the antique shop and rush back into the town. The town has turned into that nightmarish world. It's as if the danger of this town increases with every second. In order to find Lisa, I turn on the flashlight on my chest and begin to run at full speed. I left the antique shop with the intention of reuniting with Lisa, but I discover that all the roads leading to the hospital are blocked. With no other choice, I enter the shopping mall town center in the shopping district. Inside, everything has naturally changed to the other world as well. Clicked on the wrong thing. Okay. I can hear the groans of monsters in the vicinity, and it would not be surprising if they attacked at any moment. The floor has changed to metal grating, and this building looks as if it had been left in ruins for several hundred years. Large monitors have been placed in the hall at the entrance to greet shoppers. After wandering around to the first floor and finding nothing interesting, I begin heading up the power down escalator. And at that moment, suddenly light overflows from out of the monitors in the hall. A bound Cheryl is displayed on the screens. Daddy? Help me! Cheryl! I turn around and run back down the escalator towards the first floor hall. The image of Cheryl on the monitors then begins to get more and more fuzzy until it dissolves into video static on the picture tube. And then in place of Cheryl, an eerie crest is displayed. It looked like that which I saw in the courtyard of the elementary school. I pound on the monitors. I pound with all my strength as I believe that Cheryl is strapped inside of a picture tube. However, Cheryl's image did not appear again. I am convinced Cheryl was definitely taken away by someone and is being held by them, and she is waiting for me to rescue her. I must hurry, I say to myself. Alright. The second floor is more brutal than the first, and is completely deserted. However, I'm paying attention. I can hear a sound like a liquid substance splashing from somewhere. I can sense that something is not human is there. Turn toward the direction of the noise and begin to run. And then I discover the source of the noise. As soon as I step in there, the section of the floor that was standing on gives way and falls with me on top of it. I scream almost right away. Although I just fell one floor, strangely enough, I'm not hurt. The floor of the somewhat wide room is sandy, and is most certainly what cushioned my fall. I pick up the rifle at my feet and try readying it. As I do, an unspeakably unpleasant tremor comes from below me, and it shakes my entire body. It is not something that I can see. I decide this because I felt it only from below me. I can clearly tell that something with a long body like a caterpillar is moving below me. As I move, it moves in the same direction, so it's obviously that it's aiming for me as it moves. And then it shows itself. Oh my god. It is a gigantic caterpillar about 5 meters long. It sprays a green liquid from its fierce tusk-covered mouth. I can tell that the liquid is poisonous just from looking at it. And that it's definitely being discharged towards me. I did not dodge it the first time, so some of that liquid got on my arm. The pain is sharp. Red is rising up where the poisonous liquid got on me, as it is dissolving the components of my skin. Damn. Fire? I'm in danger now. I once again ready the rifle that I just picked up, and then I rain bullets into a creature that has appeared above ground. Green fluid began to leak from its abdomen, so it twisted its large body and once again burrowed down the ground. A steel plate is conveniently lying in the middle of the area. If I can just get on top of it, then I should be able to avoid direct attack. However, I don't know. After moving into a steel plate, I discovered one problem with doing so. Shit. I can no longer tell where is it coming from. I can only go with my intuition. Just where is it going to appear from? I gamble. The front. I hold the rifle low, and I aim at the area where I think it will come out with my finger poised to the trigger. I pulled the trigger at the same time I heard it come up out of the ground. However, the bullet just flies through the air. Once I realized this, it was already too late. The giant body was towering over me from behind, with its tusks ready, shit, brimming with poison, and then that poisonous liquid fell upon my raised arm. Ow! I immediately turned, aimed at its abdomen and fired. Luckily the poisoned liquid only burned my jacket and did not reach my skin. I pulled the trigger over and over until I ran out of bullets. As its screams echoed, the only that kept me going as I was about to pass out was Cheryl's smiling face in my memories. I don't know if I can die. I leave the town center. Okay. I don't even know if I can die in here. Perhaps the caterpillar from before was blocking my path to the hospital as my route. My route? You know. Which had been blocked until just before was now restored. The entire town seemed like the insides of an enormous living thing. If part of it is treated, then part of it is destroyed. If a part of it disappears, then a part of it appears. I get the feeling that I'm wandering about within a living organism that has become a labyrinth. I opened the gate to the hospital and then energetically opened the door to the examination room. Inside, Lisa was waiting for me. Harry! She changes from looking completely exhausted and rushes over to me in an innocent, childlike way. Glad you're okay. Thank God you came back. I was scared to be here all alone. I'm here now. I was worried too. I'm really happy to see you. I lightly hug Lisa and gently draw away. Then I speak while looking into her eyes. Lisa, can you tell me how to get to the lake? The lake? You take Bachman Road. The road's blocked. I recall what Sybil told me. Well, that's the only way out there. Are you sure? There's gotta be another way. Lisa places her hand on her chin and thinks for a bit. Then her eyes open wide as if she had realized something. Wait, I just remembered something. What? There's a waterworks over by my old elementary school. It's been abandoned for years. There's an underground tunnel out there, used for inspections or something. I remember hearing it runs all the way to the lake. Really? You think I can get to the lake from there? I've never been down there myself, so I'm not positive. Besides, it's all fenced off to keep people out. If there's a chance, I've got to try. Lisa embraces me again, just as I think that her face is beginning to look tearful. Harry, don't go! I don't want to be alone. It's so scary, I can't stand it. This one room in an empty hospital. In this state in which monsters could kick in the door and enter at any time. But that's not dialogue. She has no weapons with which to defend herself with. So her being gripped with fear is only natural. What should I do? Can I really take Lisa with me? It's not gonna work. I speak. How about coming with me? This may not be the safest place in the world either. I can't promise you anything, but I'll do my best to protect you. No. Somehow I feel like I'm not supposed to leave this place. Oh, Harry, I'm so scared. I'm cold. I waver. Is it okay for me to leave Lisa alone? But then what will happen to Cheryl? Cheryl has only me to depend on. My concern for Cheryl cannot be compared with my concern for Lisa. After all, she is my daughter. Look, just wait here a little longer. I'll be back as soon as I find my daughter. Perhaps those words ran cold for Lisa, but there's nothing that can be done. I must save my daughter. Harry! I leave the hospital. The water supply installation near the elementary school. I was told that I could go through those sewers and reach the lake that Cheryl was heading toward. I must hurry. As I began to run, I felt something fly over my head. It looks like something is flying in circles on the sky above me, but it's dark so I cannot see it so well. Climb the metal stairs of a building across the street and then head up to the roof. What is this? A giant moth. I guess I didn't completely kill it. That caterpillar I shot at the town center has followed me here. Is that what it is? I never connected the two stupidly. Yeah, I mean, but why? When did it have its metamorphosis and change from caterpillar into the moth? That's really weird that I never connected those two. Are they the same thing? Yeah, it does escape when you shoot the caterpillar. You don't finish it, and it breaks the window so you can exit through there. And it has matured. It dances against the black sky and is looking down on me. In addition to the poison that it can discharge from its mouth, now it has a stinger with which to stick me with. I'm in danger. I fired the rifle. Didn't I use all the bullets in the caterpillar? It is adept in the air and evades my aim, leaving the bullet to hit only air before being swallowed by the darkness. Calm down, I told myself. I must focus on only one target. While dodging it, I point the barrel of a gun at the soft area below its chest. It adeptly uses its large wings to pursue me, but eventually its strength runs out and it falls between two buildings. Green liquid leaks from its insides and its scream echoes throughout the town. This has been fan translated, so there's little errors. The nightmare still continues. My knees are killing me. After passing through the sewers connected to the water supply installation near the elementary school, I came up in the most popular part of Silent Hill, the lakeside tourist spot. However, in spite of this, there's no reason to expect anyone to be here. The area is wrapped in darkness and in a condition in which it would be impossible to even walk around without a flashlight. First, I decided to enter Annie's bar, which lies on the road to the lake. As I approached the door, I noticed what sounds like a struggle coming from the other side. When I opened the door, inside, Kaufman is there. Dr. Michael Kaufman, that is certainly what he said his name was. A monster has him cornered. His back is against the far wall of the bar, and he is out of breath. He did not notice me come into the bar and looked as if he had lost all hope. I pointed my gun at the monster and fired. Even after the monster had died with a cry like a metallic twisting, Kaufman just stared into the air, looking completely worn out. Put on my socks. Are you okay? As I spoke to him, he weakly stood up, brushed his pants twice, and then slowly looked toward me. Yeah, I guess so. But I'm beat. I thought I was a goner there. So, how'd it go? Did you find a way out? No, not yet. How about you? Sip. But it's too soon to give up. This craziness can't go on forever. A military rescue squad should be here any time now. If they come through the town, we're home free. Putting on my socks. He looked at the darkness outside the window and clenched his fists. I hope so, I say. I better get going. This isn't the time to stand around flapping out gums. He fixed his collar and then he began to walk to the door. He walked as if he were incredibly hungry. What? And when he reached the door, I asked him the question that had been on my mind for quite some time. Kaufman! In the game Harry asks, he doesn't have the picture. I don't know if it's safe here. Do you know this girl? His hand, which he had placed on the doorknob, paused for a moment, and then he looked back at me. I hold a picture of Alessa in my hand. Upon seeing it, a look of horror appears in Kaufman's face, and he freezes. You... just who in the hell are you? I wasn't able to understand the meaning of his question. In the next instant, Kaufman turned and then left the room as if he were sucked through the door. Dr. Michael Kaufman. He definitely has some secret. While I'm not sure whether it is connected to me rescuing Cheryl or not, he knows the main reason why this town has undergone a transformation. I followed him so that he did not notice me. This is weird, this is the first time that he races through the dark alleys. In the game you don't really follow him, you just find his belongings in the bar that he just dropped after the fight. Perhaps it's because he's familiar with the geography here. The sound of the harsh wind blowing down from the mountains as it cuts through the eaves of the buildings hides my footsteps and my presence. I continue to carefully tell him making sure not to lose sight of him. Finally, his small figure opened the door of a certain building and he disappeared inside. He went into a motel, but not into one of the guest rooms. The door he went through is one that is off limits to outsiders and only for use by the employees. I press down on my heart, which feels like it is going to explode. With my left hand, open the door that Kaufman just used and head inside. Inside, an ancient dust is everywhere, and the room reeks of mildew. More like mold? I don't know. It looks to be a garage. Oil, a sprayer, tires and such have been placed on a dirty metal shelf. Odd. Kaufman is nowhere to be found. There's only one other door in the room, and it's slightly open. He must have went through there into another room. However, I did not go after him right away. Instead, my attention turned to the motorcycle near the wall, and I stopped. The gas tank of a motorcycle differs from the rest of a motorcycle as it's oddly clean and shiny. The motorcycle is so covered in dust that it's not possible to even distinguish what color it is. But I get the feeling that the gas tank area alone has been filled with by someone. I tried gently opening the gas tank. Inside the gas tank there is a black vinyl bag that is protecting a small glass bottle. At the moment I was about to reach out to it, a familiar voice stopped me. "Give me that!" When I turned, Kaufman was just glaring at me, his face white with anger. His clenched fists are shaking with rage. "What is this?" "That's none of your business. Instead of messing with that, how about coming up with a way to get out of here?" "Huh. You shouldn't be hanging around here goofing off. What do you think you're doing? You want to get yourself killed? Get out of here." Even if he had not said that, I understood. I didn't know just how important this small bottle was to him, but I didn't think that it would help me to find Cheryl. So I gave it to him. "Okay, take it easy. Unless you want to die, keep your mind on business. Got it?" Saying that, Kaufman acts calm and leaves the garage. I think the guy's got to be involved with the local drug racket. Man, he was pissed. And in such a rush, too. That was probably dope in the bottle. Anyway, better let him do as he pleases. There's more than my life at stake. Then realize that I'm wasting time and I immediately leave the motel. I check the map and then head to the greatest part of the sightseeing area, the lakeside. My visible breath brushes by my cheeks, drifting in the air as if to mark my trail, and then finally becoming one with the air around it. And then the area gradually began turning into that nightmarish world. I abruptly come to stop. This time, the change is not instant like before. This town, this world seems like it's being dumped into a demon's body. And I am filled with a feeling that there is no going back. Something has changed. In a way that cannot be undone. There is a road before me. "Defi, hey! How are you?" So I run along on it. That is all I can do. Is there any hope? Is Cheryl alive? In this situation, in which I cannot be sure of anything, I frequently have to fight off the urge to get sick. However, I believe that I will find something if I continue forward on this road. I run across a pier, and without thinking about it, I wrench the door of a small boat stopped midway along the pier open, and then rushed inside it. There was already a passenger inside the boat. Sybil! Harry! Our voices revealed that we were both relieved. How did you get back here? I followed the sewer. Were you the one that cut the fence? Yeah. I'm glad you made it. I was worried about you. You were worried? Where did you disappear to? Never mind. I want to know what's going on here. What's with this town? I condensed all the things that had happened to me into one somewhat unclear conclusion. I looked at Sybil and began to speak. This has been translated from Japanese by fans, so there's some weird mistakes every now and then. Where are we? This may sound really off the wall, but listen to me. You've got to believe me. I haven't gone crazy and I'm not fooling around. First, I thought I was losing my mind. But now I know I'm not. It's not me. This whole town, it's being invaded by the other world. By a world of someone's nightmarish delusions come to life. Little by little the invasion is spreading, trying to swallow up everything in darkness. I think I'm finally beginning to understand what that lady was talking about. Harry, hold on a minute, I don't get it. Look, I don't understand it all myself. I guess I can't explain it. I honestly revealed... Oh, this is not dialogue. I honestly revealed how I felt. Well, what's making this happen? I don't know that either. But I do know Cheryl is there. There? Under whoever created this darkness. Cheryl is somewhere. And she needs my help. Once I finished explaining everything, Sybil faintly smiled and looked at me as if she was worried. Harry, this whole thing has been a major blow to you. You need to rest. I was let down. This world, its state, and the reason it became like this, I understood, and I wanted Sybil to understand as well. Even though I'm a writer, I am cursed by a limited vocabulary. This is something that upsets me about myself. Sybil, As I was speaking, the door slowly opened, and I could see someone enter the room. It was not a monster, but a human. The demon is awakening! Spreading those wings! Dahlia Gillespie. Was it not as I said? Goose, hey! I don't know if you can hear me. I see it all now. Yes, everything. Hungry for sacrifice, the demon will swallow up the land. I knew this day would come. And what's more, the task is almost finished. There's only 2 left. To seal the town to the abyss, the mark of Samael. When it is completed, all is lost. Even in daytime, darkness will cover the sun. The dead will walk and martyrs will burn in the fires of hell. Everyone will die. So what am I supposed to do? I've got to save Cheryl. It is simple. Yeah. Stop the demon. The demon taking the child's form. Stop it before your daughter becomes a sacrifice. Before it's too late. Stop it. Stop it. What do I do? Go to the lighthouse on the lake and to the center of the amusement park. Make haste. You are the only hope. Look, Harry. I really don't get what's going on. But if there's a chance we can save your daughter, I'm in. I'll check out the amusement park. You go to the lighthouse. Sybil. Yeah, I'll do as she says. I'll go to the lighthouse. Sybil, thanks. Gripping her handgun, Sybil left the boat. She has another gun. Sybil left the boat and disappeared into the darkness. You will need to use it, says Dahlia. Use what? The flowers. Only with that you can stop it. Wait, the flowers? I check inside my pocket. That four-sided object. However, does Sybil have such an object as well? No, that's not likely. If she did, then she probably would have been able to understand my story a little better. What about Sybil? I consider chasing after Sybil. However, my true goal is rescuing my daughter. And Sybil, with the same goal, is risking her life as she heads to the amusement park. I think I should believe in Sybil. No, maybe it's merely my selfishness telling myself that. However, my destination is a lighthouse that is not far from here. To run there is my mission and my fate. I entered the lighthouse and then ascended a spiral Jesus Christ, and then ascended a spiral staircase to arrive at the roof. And then I could not believe my eyes. A giant crest is present on the floor. I am standing on the roof of the lighthouse. We could use some visuals here. Okay. The Mark of Samael. That's what Dahlia called it. She said I must not let it be completed. That this town is gradually being eroded away by this crest. Alessa was standing there. She looked as if she had just now completed making the mark here, and she just looked at me without any change in her expression. For the first time, we just faced each other, each of us understanding each other to a certain degree. Just as I thought that her eyes showed a little sadness, she turned around and suddenly disappeared, as if she had jumped from this tall lighthouse. Alessa, wait! We could do that. Wait, please talk to me! I rushed to the area where Alessa was standing. However, there was no trace of her at all. The cold wind blew and ruffled my bangs. I just stood there motionless. Huh. I can see something. Through the overlapping layers of fog, I can see something that looks like a pale light. Alessa, I said without thinking about it. I had a feeling that I could see Alessa through a distortion in the space there. Alessa? Jump in. Wait, no, I'm gonna save this. This is not the way I would have gone. Can we save here? Bravely jump in. How can I jump in? Jump into what? Let's try it just in case, but I don't know what this is. I don't know if I don't even know if I can die in this game. I was walking on air. With each step I took towards the distortion, I was stepping on air. Finally my body is completely enveloped in that hole. Inside, Alessa was sitting on the ground, sobbing. Alessa. Alessa covered her face with her hands, and her shoulders trembled as she cried. I nestled up to her and knelt down. This is not in the main game, this is exclusive to this version. I'm really interested in all of the lore that this is adding to the thing. Suddenly the area became a sea of fire. Among the heaps of debris, Alessa is screaming. This is what's in Alessa's mind. Alessa's suffering mind. The detestable event of 7 years ago. The flames that burned an entire section of the town. It was being replayed before my eyes. Alyssa! I shook her shoulders in an attempt to wake her from this nightmare. Alyssa raised her head, and then I looked at her. My heart nearly stopped. Cheryl! It is unmistakable. This girl is Cheryl, whom I have been searching for. What? Cold rain moistens my cheeks. When I come to, I realize I am standing frozen on top of a lighthouse, staring off into the empty darkness. A dream? Was I hallucinating? Oh, and what about Cheryl? That was interesting. That doesn't happen in the main game. In order to return to the boat from just before, I retraced my steps from the lighthouse. The small boat stopped midway along the pier. Perhaps Sybil had returned, and with that expectation in mind, I opened the door leading to to the inside of the boat. But Sybil is not here. Thank you. Maybe she is still on her way to the amusement park? It's not a question, why I read it as a question. Or maybe she has already arrived there. Or maybe something has happened to her. Within a current of guessing that raced by like a revolving lantern, I ran toward the amusement park. Oh, okay. Okay, this is an important choice, so maybe I should save this here. It's funny that it doesn't remember. It's like the game is asking me, which one did you pick? You know which one I picked. Yeah, the revolving lantern. It's probably mistranslated, but it might mean the lighthouse thing. Why the game doesn't remember which one I picked? I picked the purple, but I don't know. Can we? Did I save? Let's say let's say B because I did pick up the purple one, but I don't know. Let's see. I arrive at the amusement park by going through the sewers. Lucky we don't even bother with the sewers. The sewers are an entire annoying level that you go through twice in the game. And here it's just skipped. In the amusement park, which has changed to the form of the other world, several of the attractions ran constantly as if they were broken toys. I pass by the Ferris wheel and arrive at the merry-go-round. But this is the only attraction that is not running. While it is only natural for a ride not to be in operation, it seems unnatural for this merry-go-round to not be running. I walk around it. While sleeping between the horses, I look for Sybil. Quite a bit of time has passed since she came here. I suppose maybe she didn't find Cheryl and headed back to that ship. But the only way to get here is through those sewers. If she had gone back, then we should have run across each other at some point. Huh? What is this? I slowly kneel down and try touching it. The dark green liquid is still warm. Something moved through here, and if this trail is... What? And if this trail is traced, it will lead back to the source of the liquid. And then in the darkness I see Sybil from behind. Sybil! I try calling out to her. Only the low sound of the motor of the Ferris wheel echoes from afar. She should be able to hear me. I take another look at her. Odd. I do not see the brave attitude that was present in her just before. She walks as if something has drained the life out of her, and she is wandering about for no reason. I approach her and call out to her once more. As I do this, Sybil staggers as she slowly turns and confirms my presence. And then, as if I am watching her in slow motion, she raises her right arm until it is parallel with the ground. And then a bullet fires from the handgun she is holding. Shit. Sybil, it's me, it's Harry! The bullet grazes my shoulder, and with a discordant metallic sound, it hits one of the wooden horses. She's coming towards me. Her eyes no longer appear to be human. The eerie red color of her eyes does not make it look like her life force has been drained, but instead it makes it appear as if she has been possessed by some evil being. It was too late, I think. Her heart had been devoured by someone, not by Alessa. What is there is no longer Sybil. Just an alter ego of Alessa that is using Sybil's body. I ready my handgun and fire it at Sybil. I have no choice. If I do not fire, then I will be killed. If I die, then I won't be able to save Cheryl or anything. Sybil! She should be my most dependable partner. The first person I met in this town, and a supporter. And an irreplaceable friend that risked her life to help me search for Cheryl. And now I'm going to kill her in the name of rescuing my daughter. However, I have no choice. I will be killed if I do nothing. I pull the trigger. Each time I hit Sybil, I feel like I'm going to pass out. Fatality. And as Sybil collapses, I become aware of my error. Sybil has become just an object. I rush over to Sybil and look at her. She's on her back with her eyes wide open. I sink to the ground. Tears distort my vision. Sybil, why did this happen? At the moment I am about to touch Sybil, her back suddenly rises and begins squirming. A nasty liquid-like monster bursts out of Sybil's lifeless back. It crawls on the floor and begins to move at a speed not unthinkable for its shape. Keeping only in my sight, I pursue it. I am already exhausted and maybe in no condition to correctly judge things. And then, just as I had predicted, she appeared. Alessa, the girl that wrapped up this town and its residents in her other world. Wait, but maybe I could have saved Cheryl if I could have saved Sybil if I had chosen the red liquid. Maybe we can skip. I arrive at the amusement park. Let's skip all of this. Skip. Skip. Try calling out for her. She comes at me. She walked as if something had drained. She shoots. Sybil, it's me, it's Harry. Skip. Let's pass some evil being. I searched my pockets and got it. The plastic bottle. The vermilion liquid is inside it. I scooped it up in the hospital. The red of Sybil's eyes looked a lot like the red in that liquid. I hold up the plastic bottle so that Sybil can see it and shake it left and right. And then, just for a moment, her expression changed for one of imploring. She must be aware, but she seems to be caught on an edge in her body that will not do her bidding. It is like she's being attracted to me. With her gun ready, Sybil approaches. Upon closer inspection, I can see that her eyes are full of tears. I unscrew the cap of a plastic bottle. No one is riding the wooden horses, so their speed increases. I think that it is like time is rapidly passing for everything but the two of us. At the same time as the hammer falls on Sybil's gun with a click, I sprinkle the liquid in the plastic bottle on Sybil without leaving a drop inside. Who? Sybil tries to speak, and her face twists agonizingly. At the same time, white smoke rises from her entire body and gravity pulls her to the ground face down. Who? I don't know what she was supposed to say. And then a creepy creature that is shaped like a human organ burrows up out of Sybil's back and approaches my feet. I forcefully crush it under my foot with all my might. Sybil, wake up! Snap out of it! Sybil doesn't respond. Sybil! After a bit, Sybil opened her eyes. Her eyes are a calm blue. Harry? What happened? Shh, don't talk. I'll take care of you. A look of relief appears on her face and then she closes her eyes again. Once I am done biting her wound, I close my eyes as well and place my hand on Sybil's shoulder. Harry, why did they take your daughter? Why her? I'm not sure myself. But you know, Cheryl isn't my biological daughter. I actually haven't told her yet. She probably already knows anyway. We found her abandoned on the side of the highway. She was still a baby and nobody knew where she came from. We didn't have any kids of our own. My wife was sick and it didn't look like she was getting any better. So we took Cheryl in. So in that case, there might be some connection between Cheryl and this town. So what do you do now? Cheryl is my daughter. I will save her. No matter what. I slowly open my eyes. I'm glad I did save Sybil because that was important. And then, just as I had predicted, she appeared. Alessa, the girl that wrapped up this town and its residents in her other world. That girl carefully formed her body from out of light and appeared right in front of me. I began to talk to that demon. I figured you'd show. Hold it right there. I don't know who you are, what you're trying to do, and I don't care. Just one thing. Let Cheryl go. That's all I ask. Before I finish speaking, Alessa raises her right hand towards the sky. And then she brings her arm down, and my entire body is blown backwards. My body tumbles across the ground like a rag for about 30 meters, and then finally comes to a rest. Damn! Such incredible power. A servant of God, a demon's power. A normal person like me has no chance against her. Power is gushing out of her body, and it emits a pale light. I cannot even approach her. Huh? What is this? Suddenly a blinding light emits from my pocket. It is that four-sided object, the Flauros. Light shoots out in a straight line from each of the points of its triangles, and it eventually rises up into the air. Triforce. Just as I thought that the great light and sound it was wrapped in meant that its power was greater than Alessa's, the power of the flower was condensed, became a beam of light, and pierced Alessa's body. Just as I was before, Alessa was blown backwards by that power, which she could not overcome. Where is Cheryl? Give me back my daughter. I was on the verge of passing out, and I thought of Cheryl. All I can do is calmly look at the unbelievable sight before me as it unfolds before my eyes. What just happened? Is Cheryl okay? However, she does not answer me. Instead, a hoarse voice passes into my thoughts, and it is accompanied by the sound of footsteps. We meet at last, Alessa. Huh? Dahlia Gillespie. Unable to move from my prone position, I thought about whose voice that was, and then using all my strength, I stand. After confirming that it was Dahlia in front of me, I spoke in a voice that was nearly a yell. Where's Cheryl? Where is she? Dahlia does not hear me yelling. She does not look back, and looks at Alessa with a creepy smile. Alessa? This is the end of your little game. Mama? Mother, I am confused. Huh? Could she be? You've been a ghastly little pest, haven't you, Alessa? I was careless, thinking you couldn't escape from our spell. But Mommy... Oh no, it's still Dahlia. But Mommy didn't know how much you'd grown. That's why I couldn't catch you all by myself. But what a pity, yes? Now you're half indebted to this man for his help. Hey, what are you talking about? My voice just echoes emptily in the darkness. Alessa, my dear little girl. There's one thing left I need you to do for me. No, get away from me! Bad girl. Everything is ready. Let's go home now. Wait. What about Cheryl? Just where is she? Give me back my daughter. My daughter. Cheryl. Game, you should remember the choices I made. Why am I having to tell you again? Let's save in somewhere. This doesn't matter. Select A. Select A if you went to a lighthouse. Select B if you went after civil to. Yeah, I went to a lighthouse. That's in the main game. It's very silly that I have to remember the game with choices I made. Lisa? What happened? Where's Alessa and Dahlia? Harry, listen. Something you said before has been bothering me. I just can't get it out of my head. What is it, Lisa? So I went to look in the basement, even though I was scared as hell. Like you said, there were these creepy rooms, but nothing really unusual down there. But while I was down there, I got this weird feeling, like I'd been there before. Like something happened there, but I can't quite remember somehow. What was it? Harry, help me. I'm so scared. I can't take this. It's only a temporary thing. You're in shock from when you were knocked out. Don't fret about it. You'll remember after a while. No, you don't understand. Wait. Where do you think you're going? Thank God I kind of know how this dialogue goes, because sometimes it doesn't indicate who is talking, but I'm kind of guessing and kind of remembering from the main game. Harry? Lisa? What's the matter with you? I get it now. Why I'm still alive even though everyone else is dead. I'm not the only one who's still walking around. I'm the same as them. I just hadn't noticed before. Lisa? Stay by me, Harry. Please. So scared. Help me. Save me from them. Please. Harry? Lisa? Yeah, I should shun her. Well, the truth is I cannot stay with her because I'm looking for Cheryl, but can I save? Do I have a slot to save? I don't even know. Let's save. Just in case. Don't worry, I will do what I can. A quiet smile appeared on Lisa's face. I softly hold her delicate body. I'm happy. Lisa's body quivered. However, maybe that is just because she is relieved. She looks at me with empty eyes, eyes that have lost her life. Then her lips begin to tremble, and a look of astonishment appears on her face. Lisa's condition becomes abnormal. She then extends her hand out towards me. Help me! She doesn't say it, but I know that's what she's saying from the movement of her lips. While she stares into the air, Lisa's body appears to drift and wiggle as she edges towards me, one step at a time. She falls to her knees. She falls on her hands. With me fixed in her sight, Lisa is falling headlong down the staircase to death. Jesus, that's not how it goes in the game. And then Lisa stopped moving. With Lisa now no more than a doll in front of me, I once again notice that I'm inside the hospital. A place which is wrapped in an evil atmosphere that I have never seen the likes of. Oh, this is Lisa speaking. I asked the doctor to let me quit being in charge of that patient. It's too weird. The room is filled with insects. Even with doors and with windows shut, they get in to spite me. To the hospital. Still alive, but with wounds that won't heal. Blood and pus flow from the bathroom faucet. I tried to stop it, but it won't turn off. Feeling bad. Need to throw up. This is like her diary or something. But nothing comes out. Vomiting only bile. Need drug. Told the doctor I quit. Won't work at that hospital anymore. Someone help me. Pocket radio continues to make noise. The raging of the unknown things around me rocks my eardrums. Those monsters which always approach shortly after I use my flashlight. It was all I could do to intimidate them with a gun while running away. After running for a bit, I realized that I am no longer in the original hospital. I have no way of knowing where here is. Bridging the gap of my faint consciousness, I move from place to place. I am being moved by someone. Maybe that's the best way to think about it. Or maybe I'm just painfully wandering around inside my own nightmare? I cannot tell at all. I can only trust my senses and rely on my own judgment. And then I raise my head. A straight corridor extends forward from where I'm standing. As I slowly walk forward, one door seems to call out to me, so I approach it. Suddenly, the wall of the room creaks with a boom, and then the floor I was standing on begins to rapidly descend along with the rest of the room. I felt like I would begin floating in the air, so I used my arms to brace myself, and then I passed out. It hurts. My whole body hurts. When I come to, I find that I'm lying on the floor of a classroom in the elementary school. My body is spread out on the floor like the Japanese character, I don't know what that's called. Very funny. A very funny comparison. The original game was exclusively in Japanese. It was not released outside of Japan, so this is the second reference that they make to Japanese characters. I can hear someone talking. I cannot make out what they are saying very well. As I lie on my back, I can see who is talking just by looking around. I cannot believe my eyes. Over there, I see Dahlia and Alyssa. They look like ghosts, and I can see through their bodies. Okay, this is new. Oh no, this happens in the house in the actual game, but it does happen. No! No, I don't want to. Do what Mommy tells you now. Just want you to lend me a teeny bit of your power. That's all. Oh, no, I don't want to do it. It will make everyone happy, and it's for your own good too. Oh, but Mommy... What weird accent am I doing? I just want to be with you. Just the two of us. Please understand. Oh yes, I see. Maybe Mummy has been wrong. Mummy? Why didn't I see this before? There's no reason to wait. Herein lies the mother's womb, containing the power to create life. I could have done it all myself. Mummy? Finally, they suddenly disappear. This happens in a room of the house. It doesn't happen in the school. Even though at this point Harry is in some kind of limbo that connects the hospital with the school, with the house, with everything. Everything. He's like in the craziest part of the other world. The classroom regains its stillness as if nothing had happened. I got on my knees, stood up, and looked around at my surroundings. Chairs and desks were arranged in order. Using them as support, I unsteadily walk toward the exit. The moment I place my hand on the wooden sliding door, it opens with great force, as if it had a mind of its own. Then the large flow of air coming from beyond, it thrusts me into a dark space. I was forced down. I found that I had been thrown into a room at the hospital again. My body had rubbed on the disgustingly dirty floor. I picked myself up and suppressed the urge to vomit while brushing off my shirt several times. A video cassette recorder had been installed here, and it looks like it can be used. I insert the tape that I have picked up at some point into it. Yeah, at some point that never actually happened, but now I very conveniently have the tape. I wonder if that has something to do with the port, because again, this guy Gyromancy ported the thing, and apparently he the puzzles just play like you cannot really play them. They play like just a sort of a cutscene, because I don't know if Gyromancy didn't know how to make them work. So maybe there was some point where I picked up the tape. He's done a great job. I mean, porting the game that was only a Game Boy Advance exclusive in Japanese. Now we can play it on the PC and in English, but it's not perfect. Anyway, I insert the tape that I had picked up at some point into it, and I timidly press the play button. After a moment of static, a picture appears. On the screen, Lisa appears. She is sitting alone with her elbows on a desk and her head down. I turn up the volume on the monitor and listen carefully. What is it? Still has an unusually high fever. Eyes don't open. Getting a pulse, but just barely breathing. Her skin is all charred. Even when I change the bandages, the blood and pus just start oozing through. Why? What is keeping that child alive? I can't stand it any longer. I won't tell a soul. Promise. So please. And then the screen goes black. The tape was ejected as if it were something dirty being spit out. I fell to the floor and it fell to the floor and it broke with a crash. There is no doubt someone is eating away at my consciousness. The magnetic tape extends out of the falling video cassette and wraps around my legs. That is new. Okay. I try to get away, but the tentacles of tape get around my neck and begin to tighten. Okay, sure. With both hands, I try as hard as I can to tear the tape away that is twisted around my neck. But I'm halfway passing out, and so my hands do not have the strength to do so. I wonder if they wanted to make this in the original game but just didn't, or this is something that was made up specifically for this version. There is a novelization, there's a book, a novelization that also came up only in Japanese and nobody has bothered to translate it in all these years. Someone started and abandoned it and we never knew, nobody has it, no quote unquote nobody. Japanese people have it and they have never shared it with anyone. It's insane. In the light that is reaching my pupils, I can faintly detect what appears to be human figures. This is very weird that's happening now. They are standing around a bed with Dali on the left, Kaufman on the right. And just a bit away from him, some people in white coats that look like doctors. Each of them has troubled looks on their faces, and they peer at the face of the person lying on the bed. Everything is going according to plan. You fucking bitch. It's your own daughter. Sheltered in the womb. But it's not done yet. Half the soul is lost. That is why the seed lies dormant. And what soul remains captured in that husk is buried deep down in the subconscious. Are you trying to say it won't work? That wasn't our agreement. No, these are just stalling tactics. If we lend a hand, we will be able to get power. Never fear. The promise shall not be broken. But the power we can draw now will be very weak, almost nothing. Unless we get the other half of the soul. We'll use a magical spell. Feeling this child's pain, it's sure to come. But that will take time. And then the illusions fade away. I carefully observe the inside of a room. This room is... I have been there before, I think. The tape, which should be tightly wrapped around my throat, is gone. And I realize that my own hands are wrapped around my throat. Something is on top of the desk that has been placed in the center of the room. This isn't the first time that I've been here. When I was here before, I was certain that, unlike other rooms, I had sensed the warmth and presence of a person in this room. When I looked at the picture on the desk, my belief changed. Alessa. I tried calling out to her. She is the instigator that created this other world. However, it would be hard for anyone to forgive. It would be hard for anyone to forgive the experiment that was carried out on her body under the pretext of a magical spell. This is where she lived. Her hate spirals out in this cursed wing of the hospital. However, there is no way to prove the reality of it. All I have is a vague sense of it, reflecting in my blank eyes in the room I'm standing in begins to change shape. The bed and picture frame from before are gone and the room transforms to a completely different one. This is a child's room. Stuffed animals and art supplies are scattered about all over. I noticed something. Huh? A think I just saw something flash. Oh, I think this is gonna be a puzzle, but it's just gonna play like a cinematic or something. I found the key. The key invites me. I had not been very careful. Had I not been very careful, I would not have found it, as it was hidden behind one of the butterflies. There's a door in front of me. As I approach it, it seems to edge up to me. As I extend my hand to the knob, the door makes a light tapping sound and begins opening, as if inviting me into the heart of something evil. Oh my freaking god. Yes. Game, why don't you know? Yeah, I saved her. I could have killed her and fooled the game and telling it I saved. This is probably stuff that the guy who made the port had to introduce because he couldn't make it better. Probably the actual game remembers your choices. I did save Civil, so hey. I had never played this in full. I tried it a few times and I abandoned it. In all these years, I always wanted to know, because I know that it adds to the lore, but I never had the patience to play it. I finally arrived at the deepest level of the other world. Inside the door, it is wide, and the floor is a metal grating. It is filled with an evil atmosphere. Additionally, it is accompanied by a strong power that I have not felt before. The ceiling is too high for me to see. This is a giant space, so large that I cannot tell if I'm outside or not. I carefully walk into a large space, one step at a time. All the answers I seek are probably in this room. Sybil has arrived here before me and has her gun ready. There are two people off in the direction that her gun is pointed at. Dahlia and Alessa. It is definitely those two. I was shocked to realize the talisman of Metatron was being used. In spite of a lost soul returning at last, just a little longer and all would have been for naught. It's all because of that man. We must be thankful to him. Even though Alessa has been stopped, his little girl has to go. What a pity. Freeze! Sybil yelled out loudly, and her trembling finger pulled the trigger. An explosion resounds and the bullet starts towards the two women. However, the bullet smashes into an invisible barrier just before it can hit Dahlia, and it shatters into pieces. Dahlia smiles as if she is saying, "But of course." What in the devil's name? Dahlia's demeanor becomes serious, and at the same time I think I see something flash in front of Sybil. In the next moment, Sybil's body flies in an arc through the air and she lands near where I'm standing. Dahlia still has not noticed me. I boldly walk towards Dahlia and I scream at her. "Stop this, Dahlia!" Dahlia shows no compunction or surprise and turns to face me with a calm expression on her face. "Well, well, well. To think you'd make it this far. Where's Cheryl? What have you done to her? What are you talking about? You've seen her many times, restored to her former self. I'm in no mood for jokes." I didn't understand what she was saying. "Don't you see? She's right there." Right there. Only Alessa, wrapped in her blue clothing, is where Dahlia is pointing. That's absurd. You are the only ones who that's Dahlia. You are the only ones who think so. Why? Why are you doing this? It's been a long 7 years. For the 7 years since that terrible day, Alessa has been kept alive, suffering a fate worse than death. Alessa has been trapped in an endless nightmare from which she never awakens. He has been nurtured by that nightmare, waiting for the day to be born. That day has finally come. The time is nigh. Everyone will be released from pain and suffering. Our salvation is at hand. This is the day of reckoning, when all our sorrows will be washed away. When we return to the true paradise. My daughter will be the mother of God. At about the exact time I began to speak, another voice drowned mine out. Oh, I clicked in the wrong thing. Quit screwing around. Return things to how they were before. Kaufman. Dr. Michael Kaufman stood there out of breath, as if he had just arrived in time. Did I ask for this? Nobody uses me. You won't get away with this. Your role is over. Oh, that's Dahlia, I think. Your role is over. We don't need you anymore. What do you think you can accomplish by coming here? A smile appeared on Kaufman's face, and he reaches into his pocket. My, aren't we getting cocky? That you can see this and keep your cool. The item that Kaufman pulled out of his pocket, it's definitely the small bottle that I found in the gas tank of a motorcycle that was in the garage somewhere. A Glopotis! I thought I got rid of that! All I had to do was plant it somewhere for you to find. Well, it kept you busy. Ha! You're easy. And there's more where this came from. Stop it! Kaufman throws the small bottle at Alessa. All four of us watch the bottle fly in a beautiful parabola, our eyes fixed on the sacred liquid within. There is tension. Although she is normally calm and composed, that drug is enough to frighten Dahlia. That small bottle hit a part of Alessa's body, shattered into pieces, and soaked Alessa uncomfortably with the red liquid that was inside. Dahlia looks completely emaciated as she watches the whole thing. However, not me, nor anyone could have predicted the situation that came out of that event. Alessa's back splits open and a giant creature, the likes of which I have never seen before, tears through the cloth of the one-piece dress Alessa is wearing. It looks like an insect. It's more like Baphomet. It's literally Baphomet. It looks like an insect breaking out of its cocoon as as it's being born. It has large wings and a head like a bull, more like a goat, and with its white green muscles, swelling, it rose up and out of its mother's body, Alessa. And then it let out an earth-shakingly brutal evil cry and looked down at us. Huh? What the? I yell out, not addressing anyone in particular. What on earth? That's not supposed to... Yeah, it might be a translation thing, the green muscles. I don't know. Kaufman just stands there in utter amazement as the events unfold unlike how he had expected. It's awakening! It's awake! Now no one can interfere! Dahlia, in a fit of insanity, had a feeling that could not be described as pleasant or angry. Cheryl! I called my daughter's name one more time. Give up! That person no longer exists. This is a god! My freaking throat is killing me. Descended among us to reach out and save us. Why is Cheryl here? I edge up to Alessa, the mother's body that... Among Us. I edge up to Alessa, the mother's body that has been cast off. And there I see Cheryl, about to fade away as always. Thank you, Daddy. Goodbye. I am certain that is what she said to me. Cheryl? Can't be. You can't leave me like this. Cheryl is already beginning to run away from me. This can't be happening. Cheryl? Cheryl! I yell out. The figure of my daughter, who I have been searching for, gradually dissolves into the darkness, just like the figure I saw when I first arrived in Silent Hill. Cheryl, wait! Oh fuck. Then electricity overflowed from the entire body of the creature that was born from Alessa. It divided into several lightning bolts, which struck above my head. I run about trying to escape. However, that band of electricity follows me and constantly appears in front of me. I have begun to sweat. Now I'm sweating, and it's getting in my eyes. If I keep running about like this, I will be beaten. I vaguely think, even if that means that Cheryl will not come back, by killing this conceptually evil creature, the situation will clearly improve for the better. But I ready my weapon. During the short time between the lightning strikes, I fire many bullets into the creature's body. During that short time from when it spreads its large wings and becomes ready to strike, I do not even think about ceasing my attack. Cheryl's smile flits through the back of my mind. What was it that you wanted? When we decided to travel to Silent Hill, you were the one to suggest it, right, Cheryl? Were you called here, or did you wish to come here of your own will? Cheryl, I loved you more than anyone, and I still do, even now. That is the truth. However, I must bury this creature. I must make up for the sins that Cheryl took from me. And then, when the final bullet penetrated his body, it lost the means to keep its body together, and finally the pieces of its body fell apart and dissolved into darkness. It was completely gone. The large space begins to shake heavily. A loud, horrifying noise rises from below, and with it, my existence is thrown from dimension to dimension. I feel pain just being there. Fire has broken out in various places in the area, and I can tell that this space, as well as the entire town, are on the verge of collapsing. Alessa lies on her stomach in the center of the space, and she shows no sign of moving from there. She is just protecting her entire body in a bird-like manner. She desperately holds out the new life just that is just below her abdomen towards me. I run over to Alessa. A pained expression rises on Alessa's face as she hands the newborn baby to me. The hellfires burn with force and spread around, and my life is threatened. There's not enough time left to try and rescue Alessa from here. I hold the baby she gave me tightly to my chest and begin to run from this twisting space in search for somewhere safe. Sybil, who was unconscious, regains consciousness and begins to run behind me to escape from the pit of this mad world. Not now, Ergo. I look back at Sybil, and then I saw that the largest ball of flames up to this point was closing in behind.
Hi, welcome.
Hi, Argo. Sybil, watch out! The great fireball, which was more than enough to completely burn both our bodies, stopped just above Sybil, as she stood holding her head in her hands. Time has stopped. The small sparks and bit of concrete debris were all frozen in mid-air. I was at a loss for words. Alessa holds both her hands high up into the air, as if she was supporting the falling wreckage, and her face twists in agony. Alessa and I gazed at each other for a moment. A tear travels down her precious cheek in a single line. Hurry and escape. Exerting the last of her power, Alessa stopped time to save me, Sybil, and the baby in my arms. Alessa? Understood, we won't let your volition go in vain. I make a sign to Sybil with my eyes, and then return my gaze forward. And then I began to run with all my might. I do not look back. Why did Alessa entrust this small life born from her at the end to me? I have no idea, but I have a feeling that I am obligated to raise this child. Behind me an explosion occurs. I run. All I can do is continue to run. Without looking back, I move forward towards the ray of light that I have a faint glimpse of. Alright. Yeah, it's pretty much the same thing that happened. Harry and his wife found Cheryl, and what Cheryl was like half of Alessa's soul trying to escape. And Harry found her 7 years ago and raised her as Cheryl. And now when she came back here, the two halves reunited again. But now Alessa did the same thing and produced another baby, and Harry will raise it, and she will become what the fuck is her name? I was going to say it and it disappeared from my brain. In the third game, you play as her, this baby all grown up, as Heather. Harry changes his name, gives her the name Heather, so the cult will not, whatever remains of a cult will not go after them. But they do. They find them when Heather is a teenager again. Oh, so these are actually, yeah, the port is made by Gyromancy, my compatriot Gyromancy. He's done a lot of stuff for the Silent Hill fan community. Okay, I guess that's it. I will play it again before October is over, because there are two scenarios you can play. You can play with Sybil, and it's an entirely different scenario. That is completely different, because of the main game obviously follows Harry, so the Harry scenario here pretty much follows the original main game. But the Sybil scenario is something completely made up for this. Probably overlaps with the main story, but it's something that is, for me at least, completely different and new. So again, before October is over, I will play this again, so we can see Sybil scenario. And there was like a third scenario or something, some sort of DLC or something that is completely lost media by now, because it's been 20 something years, and it was a Japanese exclusive thing. There was something. That Sybil went through. What do you mean Sybil went through? In the game, there are two things that you can do or cannot do, so you get one of the 4 different endings. You do get to save her, but the Sybil scenario, I think it was made especially for this. It was never part of a main game. I mean, Sybil exists in the main game, obviously. She's a secondary character, and but here you can play the play novel with her as protagonist, and I don't know what it's like. I only started, but I never played through the whole thing. So there's that to look forward to. I don't know if it's as long as the Harry scenario. It might be shorter because I don't know how much they made up for this. Because again, it's made up for this game, for this version. It might be shorter, but in any case, this is all the time that I have for now. It's been lucky that I got to play the whole Harry scenario, and I got the good ending, I suppose, because I did do the Aglopatis thing, and I saved Cyril, and I talked to Kaufman, and I did more or less the things that I know Harry has to do. I might have missed something, like that weird little scene in the lighthouse. That was completely new, and there's probably a lot of little bits of lore that were either made up for this game or maybe they were scrapped from the original. We will never know, because it's insane how all of this is wrapped in mystery, because it's all Japanese and there's not much. Even the novelization, we don't know what it says. I don't even know. So anyway, I always wanted to play this, so I'm probably going to have the entire. If you are curious about the rest of it, the whole VOD is gonna go to my YouTube. This is something that I always wanted to have in my. Always wanted to play it. I always wanted to have it in my channel. So yeah, the VOD is coming to YouTube as soon as possible, and we will play the civil scenario before October ends. So thank you, Defi, thank you, Soyan, if you're still lurking. Thank you, Goose, if you're still around. Thank you, anyone that might be lurking. See you guys on Friday, I guess. No, what day is this? Where are we? Where are we? Yeah. See you guys on Friday. See you tomorrow at Phil's. See you on Discord. We should do this again soonish so we can do the civil scenario. Thank you guys. Thank you anyone that might be watching the VOD on YouTube. See you next time.